All right, everybody, Giordano here with you alongside Alec Nava. Between play-by-play and color, we're going to give you Game 5 of the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's get into the starting lineups first as the players are starting to come out of the tunnel. It's Brayden Point, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Victor Hedman, Nicholas Pervix, Anthony Rielly, Brandon Hagel, Alex Killorn, Mikhail, Sergachev, and Darren Radish, Nick Paul, Ross Colton, and then Mikey Eastmon's hurt, so that's going to either move Tanner Jeannot to the third line, but we'll see where that goes with Ian Cole and Zach Bogosian. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, Pat Maroon, and Corey Perry will be the usual fourth line with the big cat, Andrei Vasilevskiy. And for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it sounds like this. Auston Matthews, Killorn, Krog, William Nylander, Jake McCabe, and TJ Brodie. John Tavares, Matthew Nyes, Mitch Marner with Mark Giordano and Justin Holl. Ryan O'Reilly, Alexander Kerfoot, Nola Chari with David Camp, Zach Aston Reese, and Sam Lafferty. It'll be Morgan Rielly and Luke Shannon, the back-end defense with Ilya Samsonov. Alec, this is a big one, and this is a situation I didn't think we'd find ourselves in. The Toronto Maple Leafs have a 3-1 series lead, and they have an opportunity to get past the first round for the first time since 2004.
Normally, I would expect the Leafs to lose first-round series, given the direction that they've been in over the past 6 years. But now, this can be an actual closeout game for them. The Tampa Bay Lightning have not looked like their usual selves. Outside their offense, the offense is there. It's just that the goaltending is disappointed, and Andrei Vasilevskiy is clearly not looked like himself. Toronto, everything is clicking, and the fans, they're going to be going crazy if they get this series win.
And to your point, I just want to bring about this because you're correct about Andrei Vasilevskiy, but the goaltending numbers across both sides are pretty poor, with the exception of Ilya Samsonov down the stretch in Game 4 when Toronto needed to come back yet again in OT. Look, it was a 3-goal lead for the Tampa Bay Lightning going into Game 4. And that back half, the final 10 minutes in regulation, Toronto scores 3 times, ties it, and they win in OT with Alexander Kerfoot. So Vasilevsky's numbers 1-3, a 4.33 goals against, 8.56 save percentage. Ilya Samsonov, yeah, the wins are nice, 3-1. But a 3.72 goals against and an 8.76 save percentage. And do you make anything with the comments that we've heard on CBC from the now Red Wings coach Derek Lalonde says that you can beat Andrei Vasilevskiy with long shots? John Cooper was none too pleased, but I imagine every single NHL counterpart has the book on Vasilevskiy, and Toronto's got the offensive firepower to beat somebody even as good as him.
That's the game plan that Toronto has gone with point shots and deflections as well. Because the game winners have been scored on either a point shot or deflection, as has most of the Toronto goals throughout these last 3 games. So Morgan Rielly's shot, point shot. Alex Kerfoot's shot, the game winner, deflection from Mark Giordano's point shot. Even there were some point shots that went down the back of the net, such as Mitch Marner's first goal in Game 2. Also, I guess there was another that was, Rielly's, Morgan Rielly's tying goal in Game 4 as well. And Leafs fans have to be happy that they're on the other end of it was 4-1.
Yes, exactly. On that side. So the first 2 games were slobber knockers, both in Scotiabank. Tampa opened this with a 7-3 win, and then Toronto countered with a 7-2 victory. After that, it's been very tight. A pair of overtime wins. Toronto was able to get on the right side of both of those, as Alec was saying. 4-3 in Game 3, 5-4 in Game 4. And this is interesting, Alec. I know we just talked about some of the stuff the last couple of days, but the game I covered with Cooper Hopkins, it was Seattle and Colorado. Colorado's pushed to the brink. Now Tampa's pushed to the brink. Did you ever think we'd get in that situation in round 1 where we might not see the Avalanche or the Lightning survive past the first round?
I mean, this will be just the second time in the 4-year span in which the previous Stanley Cup finalists would be knocked out in the first round. Because if you remember the 2019 playoffs, the Wild Card Chaos Squad and the Vegas Golden Knights Game 7 meltdown, that was amazing to think about that the Capitals and Golden Knights did not even get out of the first round in that year. Fast forward to now, and we're seeing the Lightning get put in a position where their season is on life support. And the Avalanche, same thing as well, unless they can force a game 7. And the thing is, with the Lightning, they need everything to click together, especially goaltending, because Vasilevsky has been not Vasilevsky-like.
He's been more to the point of a AHL goaltender. I mean, that's not disrespectful to say. It's the truth. Both of these goaltenders need the support, but the offense has been carrying the weight of the day, and we're just going to have to see what ends up happening here. So the Lightning, not only do they need to win tonight, but they also need to win 2 more games just to be able to get out of this series. So the Maple Leafs, even if they can't close it out tonight, even though they should be riding the home crowd at Scotiabank, they're in a great position in this series. And from what we've known, it's been a very physical series. There's been a lot of goals. And all that's left is to figure out what is going to happen tonight. So Point does win the faceoff, and the Bolts do have the puck possession first. They're going to be going left to right. So 1-3 record in Game 5 when trailing 3-1 in the series. So if you're thinking about recent history for the Bolts, not very good on that end. As this is picked up now for Willie Nylander, and he'll dump this in. Andre Vasilevsky will just take a look, and it'll be interesting to see as soon as Toronto gets this puck, gets a chance to get shots, where they will come from. We talked about the ones from the point that have been beating the Big Cat. We'll see if that continues. It's Alex Killorn with the ripper. Rebound out in front, and Toronto is able to clean up the mess there with Nylander as he's got it toward the right side red line. Gains the entry in the offensive zone. Another long shot, and that one is deflected off the top of the net. This will stay here with the Maple Leafs in the cave, and they'll dump it in off the left pad of Vasilevsky as this is still in that same spot, trying to be recollected there by Ryan O'Reilly. The O'Reillys and Morgan Rielly have been very excellent. You're thinking about Conn Smythe in the Stanley Cup playoffs 2019 for the St. Louis Blues. It's been exactly what you're talking about for Ryan O'Reilly. And Toronto's got that leadership that they desperately need. They know the job's not done just yet, but they're in a great spot. And they want to be able to take out Tampa because they've played them a couple times already, and they want to get that revenge and get past the first round for the first time since 2004. Kucherov will throw it back across the red line now as there's a stick drag ahead as this gets picked up by Point. He gets taken away from the puck by Mikhail, and Stamkos trying to join it on the front and deliver a forecheck as it's set in the high slot now here for Tampa. They'll be patient. This one gets fired. This gets bounced off the Maple Leafs. And again, John Tavares taking a look at it, but he's going to go ahead on the bench as the Maple Leafs have iced it with 18-16.
Interesting note here, if the Leafs have lost their last 10 closeout games in the playoffs, they look to end that here tonight. And I feel there is that good chance that Toronto ends it, especially given the roster construction that they had, especially with the trade deadline, the veteran leadership that he brought in. Even with Ryan O'Reilly and Mark Giordano taking that pay cut to stay with the Leafs in the offseason.
Yes, he did. And again, as you talk about Kyle Dubas trying to get everything together, his job's on the line, and all the fans and everybody else are thinking about what could be here for the Maple Leafs. They know they have a great team. As this gets deflected out in front, Bogosian's shot gets blocked by the Maple Leafs, and O'Reilly will try to battle this as Kerfoot couldn't get to it. And this will be kept in. Now Zach Bogosian, he's patient. Again, no Eric Chernak, so Bogosian's out there right now. He's on the third line. Is a fake slap shot. I think it got partially blocked. There's bodies everywhere, and this will be picked up by the Maple Leafs as the puck gets raced and toward the right side corner as Ross Colton tries to finish his check. Michael Eastmont is out there. He was going to be a game-time decision, but he is out there right now and toward the right side of the face-off dot as this is picked up now by T.J. Brody. A couple active stick checks there will put this back to the left side of the blue line. Nick Paul able to push it out. And now the Maple Leafs have it as they'll flip it now across the red line. Paul got a piece of his man, and this will be sent all the way back down the ice again, but this will not be blown dead. So we're still underway here. 17:05 left to go in the first round. I'm here with you alongside Alec Nalva as we take in this Game 5. It's a historical moment for the Maple Leafs. And again, this will be a long time coming, but they do have a 3-1 series lead against the Bolts. And this is a counter attempt to break all the way down the middle of the ice, but that was picked off. And now Mitch Marner has to go back in his own end and recollect as John Tavares gets to the body contact, trying to keep it alive off the backhand. Maple Leafs will do this again near the left side wall. Here's Mitchell Marner as this is picked off by Big Victor Hedman, and they'll drop it back for the Bolts, and they'll get set up now with Nicholas Perbix. Perbix with an outstretched pass. This bounces off of the stick of the Lightning, and this will be collected by Justin Hall off the backhand to Morgan Rielly. And this is picked off in the middle of the zone. Now Maroon's going to let one go, and this bounced off the left side of the wall as the Bolts able to keep this in the offensive end. Sent back around the net now for Brayden Sandpaper, Pat Maroon, as another shot gets blocked. Rielly trying to provide the screen out in front. Another opportunity toward the left side of the faceoff dot. That got blocked by the Maple Leafs. So again, the Bolts are kind of giving that same game plan that the Maple Leafs want to do against Vasilevsky, against Samsonov. Get shots from the point, get deflections. That's what we're seeing right now. The shots on goal are 2-1 in favor of the Lightning, with 15:50 left to go in the first. As this is sent back around the horn by Alex Killorn. Now back to the high side D and the left side blue line. And this gets deflected. This time up and on a play. We get a stoppage with 15:45.
As you noted, Tampa's trying to get some of the same game plan that Toronto's been using in games 3 and 4. Point shots that get deflected right in front of Ilya Samsonov this time around at the offensive end. And Toronto looks to do the exact same, but so far, Tampa is getting the bulk of the offensive zone time here, especially on a double fake shot by Ian Cole. The third pairing starting up well here, especially no Eric Chernak.
Yes, they are. And again, it's not for the lack of trying here, Alec, as far as Tampa's attack. They've done well, but as you said, they need that back-end goaltending. They need Vasilevsky to kind of lock it down. He was able to do that last postseason as they're able to take Game 6 and Game 7 away from the Lightning that had a lead. We'll see what happens now. Bellemare forces a steal, and that's a good contact there by Mikhail, but is it going to be called is the question as Hagel got dumped.
I don't know here. And once again, I may be behind on this call, so just poking on around on that one. But I wonder about that little poke there. Some off the zone time, and yeah, I'm seeing the takedown. Jake McCabe yet took down Brandon Hagel, so the refs are going to discuss this.
And again, once I get the ESPN box part of it to load, we can send you any penalty calls or anything else that come our way in between the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube side. Just happy to have Alec Nava with me here. So again, we're right underway, and it's going to be an offensive zone here for Kucherov as he collects. And this is sent back around as this knocked Brayden point away from the puck. Stamkos also out there as well as Alex Killorn. We'll send this back around. Another long ripper. That was stopped by the left pad of Ilya Samsonov. Again, now it's 4-1 in favor of Tampa Bay. With 15 minutes left to go in this first, we are scoreless yet at Scotiabank. As this is spun back around, McCabe is just being bothered here by Nikita Kucherov, the NHL's top assist man, as this is gloved down by Hedman, able to get a piece of it, but this could allow the Maple Leafs to get a long opportunity. Another shot. This one goes off the left side of the wall. David Camp will recollect as Kucherov tries to finish his hit on David. As this is picked up now by Camp, Perbix gets in the way. And this is sent back along the right side of the wall. Here comes another long shot. Vasilevsky sees it and swallows it up.
So Toronto answering right back on the counter here and trying to get some shots over Andre Vasilevsky. And some of those deflections that they want to get right after, those are the same deflections that they emphasize, especially the overtime winner by Alex Kerfoot. Yeah, that shot towards the far half wall by Zach Aston-Reese. He had to go in game 2. We'll see if the fourth leg can get going.
Yes, we can. And again, we're going to see a little bit of a tenuous start, I feel like, from what we saw yesterday in between Colorado and Seattle. Kind of feels that way right now. And if Tampa has anything to say about it, I think this will favor them. They don't want to see Toronto get out there and explode. We know both teams have scored a lot of goals, but if they can keep it as easy for the Big Cat as possible, that's what they'll take. As Nick Paul, shot gets blocked near the right side of the wall, and this is collected by the captaincy and John Tavares. Tavares will gain the entry. He'll just try to make a pass. He does get around Sergachev, trying to center it out in front. It's side slap for Rielly. Scores!
And I can just feel old Scotiabank Arena just erupt from all this. The series victory within grasp. And you know they're all going crazy here. So John Tavares picks this up from the far corner. This puck comes loose to Rielly. And it took about, I think it was the far post and right into the net. He had the game winner in game 3 and the game tie going game 4. Everyone's in a frenzy. Someone's even holding up a trade head over at the mosh pit at Maple Leaf Square.
That is absolutely ridiculous. John Tavares able to just get a routine pass, get around Sergachev. They put it in the middle of the slot, and then there you go. Morgan Rielly, boy, has he been good over the last few games, and Toronto's got the lead. They have just 2 shots on goal, so Vasilevsky only batting 50% right now, which speaks to those numbers, as we've talked about, is yet again the Lightning are behind the 8 ball. Here's Alex Killorn now. Send the high slot. Perbix lets it go. And this one is in. It bounces off Samsonov, and the Lightning come right back.
Well, that was quick. That was as quick of a response that Tampa could have gotten, and they needed that, especially since their season is on the line here. So Alex Killorn just pivots right here, feeds it right back for Nick Perbix, and then the scramble ensues right in front of the net. And then I'm not sure who got that. Maybe it was Anthony Cirelli who got that. But then we are tied at 1 here in a do-or-die game for Tampa.
Was that Brayden Hagel that made the windmill move just to get some space? He gets a shot out with the screen and Cirelli right on the doorstep, and Tampa comes right back and ties this game up. Wow, that was absolutely critical, Alec, when you think about the building being blown off here as Kucherov tries to send it the other way. We are tied, and I did not expect that to happen so soon as Tampa leads on the shot board now 7-3. They haven't even announced the Toronto goal yet for Morgan Rielly before we got a Cirelli finish. And now the other way. Here's a chance again. Willie Nylander drives to the net, but he can't get the shot off. Toronto starting to buzz one more time. Here's another shot from the high slot. This is flipped up. We got blocked. TJ Brody. Now this goes back to Auston Matthews. Here's a chance for Brody. Now he lets the bomb go. And Vasilevsky trying to locate this amongst the traffic, but I think it just bounced off bodies. He'll get a stoppage.
Oh yeah, Nylander just had that great chance on getting what was the third goal between these two teams combined, and what felt like a minute. I'm not sure what the official time span is, but Nylander, great move right in front of Vasilevsky.
This is absolutely mind-boggling here, Alec, on this side. I'm going to admit to you, we knew that it was going to be wild, and we knew that there was going to be emotion in the building because I agree with you. Even though the Maple Leafs have plenty of chances to do this thing, they have a 3-1 series edge. They want to try their best to get this done tonight because you don't want to have anything linger. But I am just impressed in the sense of not only did the Maple Leafs get on the board first, the Lightning answer back immediately when they absolutely had to with Anthony Cirelli.
And they really needed that, especially when they have something's clicking over at offense. They're doing fairly decent on that. Of a 5-on-5 or 49.69 expected goals for percentage, and their power play is thriving as well at 29.4%. So the Leafs have matched that as well.
Yeah.
Their power play at an exceptional 35.3% on that category.
When you're talking about those numbers, that kind of makes it sound like the regular season numbers of the Edmonton Oilers power play, doesn't it? 35.3%. My goodness.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that. And plus, Mitch Marner is averaging 2.5 points per game heading into this match. He has 10 points through 4 games, and those being assists. And had that big power play goal that opened the scoring in game 2.
So we will have a little bit of housekeeping to do as far as the Rangers and the Devils. And Alec, I want to give you full marks since you're on here. When we talked within game 1 between Minnesota and Dallas, and I asked you about the Rangers and Devils series, you were bang on. You said both teams would win both games on road ice, and that's exactly what we have as we go back to Prudential Center here, tied 2-2. So we will keep you updated on that score, and I think our game, unless we get to OT, will finish before the Jets and Golden Knights. That one certainly seems to have the writing on the wall for the Golden Knights, so I'll get my Jets prediction incorrect, but there's been so many injuries on Winnipeg's side. That's just been tough for them to come back from.
Especially Nikolai Ehlers, because that's a tough injury to overcome. And Cole Perfetti as well.
Absolutely. As we're back underway here in our game, it's 12:55 left to go in the first, and this will fall right to Samsonov. He'll take no chances. It'll be an offensive zone draw coming here for Tampa.
The one thing of note on Toronto's lineup is that they're keeping Matthew Knies on the lineup, especially after Michael Bunting finished serving his 3-game suspension. Even though he was eligible to come back, they're going with the rookie in the lineup over Bunting. It's been arguably their best left winger.
And Alec, just quickly get your thoughts here. You like that call?
I like that call, especially with the impact that Knies has been having on the lineup.
I would agree with you on that, and especially given the situation with everything with Bunting, You feel like he had his chance. He kind of messed that one up. And if Nyes is going to do the job here and Toronto's out in front, why not? As this is sent back around the other way for Mikhail Sergachev. And Tampa will look to start again. Again, it's left to right in the first period here. They're in the all-white jersey with the blue pants. And Toronto Maple Leafs in the all-blue. It's kind of like the mirror match in between these. They have the same kind of color schemes, but that's why you have a dark blue against the light on the other side. Make sure you don't get confused. As Nick Paul gets this away from Nyes, and now Marner will recollect as this will fall back to the Toronto defense. And Giordano has his head up. He's going to let his forwards take the change. He's got about 12:05 left to go in this first round. And within the play-by-play being joined by Alec Nava. Here's number 34. Auston Matthews will pivot back to his defense, and yet again another long shot. This one gets solved by the big cat as this will go back now to Zach Bogosian. Now Bogosian now for Perry. It's the fourth line for John Cooper's squad. As this is a drop pass, Cole will try to set this up. This is a hopeful backhand. It wasn't able to really pick it up where Tampa. And this is sent back around the other way from Mark Giordano. As the defense will get this settled here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nylander will finish his check. Might as well take a change as they're already near the players' bench. Now Giordano sends back across for Justin Holl. Defensive pairings, you try to find something that works here for Toronto, and it has, especially going into this postseason and late in the year. As Sergachev will get this one back, as this is picked up and sent out across by Victor Hedman. Now Brayden Point, part of the first line out there with Steven Stamkos. The race for the puck now for Brayden, as he's able to get the steal, work his way to the middle of the slide off the back pass, but this gets collected now by the Maple Leafs and intercepted by Zach Aston Reese. As this is David Camp. Good little shovel there on the backhand. Gets us across the red line to Zach Aston Reese. And this will be brushed aside by Vasilevsky as this is a sauce pass, an attempted bank for Steven Stamkos, captain. He will spin toward the left side of the wall. He'll be patient now off this backhand. Keep this alive in the high slot. And this is deflected wide of the cage near the right side of the wall. As we get dangerously close to the halfway marker of the first period, it's a 1-1 game in between the Bolts and the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs, again, they have a 3-1 series lead. This looks a lot different in certain aspects than it did last year. But again, they were up 3-2 before Tampa closed them out in 6 and 7 when Vasilevsky shut down and locked the door. As this is sent across by Isamont. Kerfoot finishes his check, and now John Tavares trying to get around a stick lift. Gets us across the red line, and it's dumped in here by the Bolts. 7 shots to 4 in this tie game right now. It's 1-1 aside. As this is recollected here by Darren Radish. Radish will spin, but it gets stolen from him. Matthew Nyes able to get an intercept as this is a race and a good spin by Toronto as Nick Paul instead just went to go to the bench. And this is dumped in there by Morgan Rielly. And this deflects into the seating. 9:52, we get a stoppage.
So the pace of play is kind of slowed down here after those first 2 goals. So not much happening here in terms of the offensive department. It's pretty much turned into a defensive battle between these 2 teams.
So with 9:52 in the first, the middle, we go to a commercial break. And to your point, Alec, who does that favor, do you think?
Ask that question again.
So to the point you made about the defensive battle, who do you think that favors right now?
Right now, Hill is pretty much even between both of these teams, but Toronto is just weathering the storm because of all the offense that Tampa's been bringing. 7 shots on goal to Toronto's 4, and Toronto's been holding up well. Timothy Luger is one of their better defensive defensemen on this roster. He's not dressed here for this entire series. That best defensive defenseman would be going to arguably TJ Brody, either him or Mark Giordano, when you look at that.
So we will see what ends up happening the rest of this game, but I would imagine as I was looking through some of the notes, trying to get a little bit of prep here before we started in this series. Again, it's my first look at this one between Tampa and Toronto. I know Alex covered a couple of these already. But in the sense of, we're talking about a 7-3, 7-2, a 4-3, and a 5-4. Will we get one of these ones in Game 5 where we get a low-scoring kind of game, more of an actual playoff type feel in the Stanley Cup playoffs, meaning a 3-2, a 2-1 type game, or is this going to be a complete explosion? That's what I'm wondering. And I'm thinking right now between the slow pace myself, I'm going to go again with Tampa slightly on that edge of it because they don't want Toronto to be able to explode and showcase all of their skills. But again, we look at it, as Alex said, it's a lot of long shots, as Darren Pang is interviewing John Cooper on that side. It's a lot of long shots, and I don't think that game plan is going to change. until Vasilevsky can prove he can start to stop some of those.
Yeah, I don't expect that game plan to change for either one of these two teams. The long shots and looking for deflections. That's pretty much the strategy that both of these teams are going with.
So we're going to get a face-off here in the neutral zone. This will be an opportunity here for Auston Matthews against Anthony Cirelli. You got two of the better two-way forwards. Again, Auston Matthews, talk about a 60-goal season last year. He is one of the premier two-way forwards. And Cirelli's more of a defensive guy more than a goal scorer, but he's already got one in this game. So how about that on that side? It's Young Krug trying to send this across. Now this gets recollected now by Matthews. Matthews will let it fly with a slap shot set up there by Giordano. And this is picked up now across the red line as this will fall back to the Maple Leafs. Again, it's a 1-1 tie. We're 9:20 left to go in this first. As Kelly Armcroft will spin, he gets taken down, and there's a chorus of boos here as the play gets stopped, but I think we're just going to get a face-off upcoming.
Fans catch that call, refs don't, maybe, but we need to see what the argument is all about.
So 7 shots to 4. Again, the ESPN box score has not pulled up yet as far as scoring tallies and penalties, but we will get those. I'm just trying to refresh it as possible. We are just going to get a face-off here at center ice, so I do wonder what that was about. But we'll start it again as Tavares able to win that one. And what a luxury that is, Alec, to not only have Auston Matthews, but also have John Tavares. And you can roll them on the first line. You can roll them in the mix of the first and second. You have two of the better ones done, and that's why Kyle Dubas, for as much of the traction as he might get for Maple Leafs not doing their job, they got luxury to have on offense. There's a big hit thrown against point against Mikhail.
Oh, that was big. I'll tell you.
Point got absolutely punished by Jake McCabe there, and that was a clean hit.
Wow, that was like a freight train. That was like a freight train.
Yeah, that was right in front of the referee. That was clean. Again, that's an example of you don't have to leave your feet to finish that off. Jake McCabe, most hits in the series. He's got 20. It's been a very physical one right now, and Toronto leads that battle 9-6 as it's 8:55 left to go in the first. This is dumped in across the red line. Vasilevsky will take a look. He's got the stand up near the right post. Played off the backhand as Tampa will try to push the other way. Ross Colton. There's a chip in there for Michael Eyssimont. Eyssimont now trying to get around Rielly as he's trying to make a play off the windmill, but this will fall now toward the right side dot off the spin. Look for Nolan Chari here as they'll send this back across. It's stolen, and here comes a short side chance from Chari there for Colton, and now we'll get some pushing and shoving, but a good save by Samsonov.
Yeah, these two teams don't like it when there's someone right in front of the net trying to get one shot in. And of course, you expect that pushing and shoving and all sorts of uneasiness. Michael Eyssimont setting Ross Colton up from that sharp angle shot. And Ilya Samsonov got all over that.
Yeah, they couldn't get anything toward the middle of the slot. Quite frankly, there was no space. So again, if you have Eyssimont and Colton, as Alex said, you take what's given to you in the space, and you take the offensive draw, hope you can win it. So it's Stamkos against Camp. You got first line against fourth, essentially, as this is picked up here for Kucherov. And now Bogosian will flip this back around for Stamkos. Stamkos will spin, trying to keep this alive off the backhand. Kucherov will join in here on the left side of the red line as it bounced off Stamkos' left skate. And this is recollected by Camp. Again, on the fourth line side, the Toronto Maple Leafs have a ton of speed. David Camp is one of those ones that can lock that down. As this gets blocked near the right side of the wall, jamming away at it is Stamkos, but the play is going to get blown dead, and we will get some more pleasantries exchanged.
You mentioned about the speed that Toronto's fourth line can bring, not only of David Camp, but also Sam Lafferty, who brings that speed over to the fourth line. Trade deadline acquisition from the Chicago Blackhawks, who came over alongside Jake McCabe. And that speed and tenacity of that fourth line makes this line tough.
And Alec, essentially with all the moves that Kyle Dubas has made, their bottom six it probably looks as good as it's been in a long time.
Yep. As you look at Ryan O'Reilly and Noah Chari, O'Reilly, he was the top line center for the Blues 4 years ago. He won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Now he's being utilized as the third line center because they have Auston Matthews and John Tavares up in the top two lines.
Yeah, that's an embarrassment of riches when you really think about it. Now the fourth line out here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And again, they were off to a great start in that first game. The fourth line is probably something that's divisive here for Tampa, but you know what you can bring there with Ross Colton, Corey Perry. Good set of windmill moves here for Nylander as he tried to gain the zone. But this is picked up by Ian Cole. His drop pass. This will go to Zach Bogosian. They got there just in time. 7:25 left to go in the first. The pass the other way gets deflected by Mark Giordano. Getting a little bit of long in the tooth at this point is Giordano, but he is a steady compact there back on defense, and you know what you're going to get from him. Not a lot of mistakes, and he's worked really well with Justin Hull as this is flipped the other way. Hull will collect now off his forehand. They'll throw it right back to Giordano. They'll play embankment off the wall. Giordano looking for an entry pass here as this gets recollected. This couldn't find Matthew Nyes, but good back check defense there by the Maple Leafs. Get this across the blue line now. Marner. We'll just try to throw it in an open area as it is going to be iced against Toronto.
And the fans chanting, "Go Leafs, go," for a moment there at the 7:25 mark when they were cheering on their team, trying to rally right back. So this game is pretty much anyone's game still.
Yes, it is. And again, there'll be a lot to look forward to should Toronto close it out tonight, who their opponent is going to be in the second round and what the next avenue of action is. Because again, they're going to feel like lifting the Stanley Cup just winning the first round. But that is not the be-all, end-goal of a team like this, as Brayden Point is going to take the face-off now in exchange for Steven Stamkos. But again, good work by John Tavares to win this in the defensive zone. As we did 6:45, I think, on the first. John out here alongside Alec Nava between play-by-play and color respectively, as Kucherov will turn this around, throw this near the right dot, and this gets intercepted. Matthew Nyes will shovel it in the defensive end of the Bolts as this is recollected there and sent back around. Radish will get this across to Nikita Kucherov. Now picked up here in full flight. Radish will try to bank this to Nikita Kucherov, but this gets knocked off of a Maple Leaf skate and sent back down the ice where this gets recollected. Toronto has got it now. 6:10 left to go in the first. It's a 1-1 game. It's 9 shots to 4. We get an offside entry, and they get some pushing and shoving there. Shanna actually falls on top of one of the Bolts.
And then you have all the intensity between these two teams. You know, they don't like each other, especially given the events of Game 3 with Morgan Rielly on that hit on Brayden Point. Yep, there's that takedown, that judo flip by Luke Shen.
Yeah, it was pretty good there on that side. And I couldn't believe it a couple games ago when you saw Matthews and Stamkos drop the gloves. You have two guys that have had 60 goals or more in their history, and you're seeing them throwing fists. That was unbelievable, Alec.
It was the sight to see, because you know this might be actually the first ever fight between two former 60-goal scorers in NHL history.
I would absolutely believe that, even if that wasn't a stat, because I'm pretty sure it is on that end. As this is a chance in full flight now, and this is O'Reilly. Good moves for Ryan O'Reilly as he sent this back across from McKay, and now a hand is in the air. I think it was a delayed penalty against the Bolts. So this will put the Maple Leafs, as they almost threw this into their own net, unbelievably, but Auston Matthews was there. But this will put the Maple Leafs in on the power play. So we'll see what they can do with the extra man right now, because if they score, we'll just go back to even strength. 5:25 will be on the first. Here's Matthews. Nice entry, making a play, falling down. He gets a long shot on Vasilevsky. Now Hagel comes together with Matthews, but this will be a power play upcoming here.
And the power play has been hot for Toronto throughout this playoff series, scoring at a 35.3% clip. This is not the situation that you want to put the Leafs in if you're Tampa. There might have been another trip there which could have put the Leafs on a 5-on-3. The fans don't like that it's not called, but we'll see about this.
Yes, we will, because it was Auston Matthews on the other end. He could have got tripped again. It could have been a 5-on-3. But as we go to commercial break, it sits a 1-1 scoreline between Tampa and Toronto. And Toronto will start from the commercial break with 5:22 left on the power play. We'll see what they'll do with their first. It'll be the first of the game. And I'm still trying to wait and see if we can get any more anything else in particular as far as that box, but it's not loaded just yet. So our apologies on that end as far as any penalties or anything else that'll be called. We will get those to you once I can get the updated information. What we do know is the Rangers and the New Jersey Devils, that's going to be on ESPN2, and that should probably puck drop in about 5 minutes. Do you like the road teams to continue to win here? Are you going to take the Rangers, or are you going to go with New Jersey Devils and Akira Schmid because he's found his game?
Well, Schmid has been outstanding in games 3 and 4 when he got inserted into the nets. So I feel road teams have been the tail of the tape here. There's only been one other series there's been only one series in NHL history in which the road team won the first 5 games. That was the Jets and Blues in 2019, the first round. I feel like the Rangers here, considering both these teams play better when they're on the road. So, yeah, I'll have the Rangers take this one. But we'll see about how this game goes.
I'm going to go ahead with that prediction too there, Alec, because I'm surprised the way, and again, I know Akira Schmid has been excellent, but the way that it started, it was the Rangers pretty much taking care of the Devils at Prudential. It was 5-2 in both of those games, and then all of a sudden the Rangers offense got essentially shut off when they went to MSG. Can they find that and turn that pilot light back on in New Jersey? That's the question.
I think they can and overcome the New Jersey defense, just like they did in games 1 and 2, where they won by identical 5-1 margins.
Thank you.
So there'll be live updates on that if there's any stoppage or commercial break.
So this will be an offensive zone draw. This is off in the power play, and this is recollected by the Bolts. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, fourth line, trying to kill that essentially, or most of the fourth line on their second line penalty kill. As this is collected now near the right side of the boards. There's a chance for Matthews, so he'll set it back up and stay patient there with Rielly. As it's a long shot, and that one gets flipped and tipped out by Vasilevsky, but this is still in with the Maple Leafs. It's Morgan Rielly. Now here's a chance for Auston Matthews back to Morgan in the high slot. We'll fake the slap shot, give it back to number 34 now. Auston Matthews, stay patient here on the left side dot as this goes back around the line for Ryan O'Reilly. This tried to find Auston Matthews, but I'll flip it back around here for John Tavares. Now Tavares will try to locate this near the left side of the red line as this will go to the Bolts, and Hedman turns it over right in front of the slot of Vasilevsky. And this gets picked up by the Bolts. Oh my goodness, that was right out in front of the dots. As it's 1 minute left to go here in the Toronto power play, and Hedman got to be taking an extra beat and an extra breath as it's Giordano. Back the other way now here for Willie. As Nylander's got it. He's going to get across the Maple Leafs logo, and the New Jersey Devils have just taken the lead less than 40 seconds in. Wow. As this is recollected, it's Giordano with a stick, and now the Bolts are able to kill some time as this is played in off the windmill. Here's a chance for Nylander. He'll drop it back to his defense and collect it now. What a setup in the middle of the slot. Vasilevsky, huge save.
And Victor Hedman has to breathe a sigh of relief here because Vasilevsky is looking like the goalie that he has been in the 2 Stanley Cup runs throughout this power play. That's what you expect from Andrei Vasilevsky, arguably still the best goalie in the world right now. Big save by the Big Cats, stopping Cali Yarbrough stone cold.
Yes, that's right in front of the dots. We're not even talking about long shots anymore. You get a primo opportunity right in front of the slot. Willie Nylander was skating circles over everybody, and now he gets an opportunity to go ahead and take this draw. He's certainly been feeling himself here on this power play. And again, it's another win for the Maple Leafs as Morgan Rielly gets upended the other way, but this is now near the left side dot as Giordano trying to locate this off the pinch, finishes his check. Here's the Maple Leafs again. There's a chance for Morgan Rielly. Here comes a slap shot, and that one goes wide all the way to the left side. Here's Rielly with the touch pass. Set up here for Kerfoot. Rielly's got it again in the high slot. Power play ends, but this is still with the Maple Leafs. They look very dangerous. That was whistled wide by Matthews. Put out in the middle of the slot, and this gets shoveled away from Sergachev. As this will be recollected. Radish trying to locate. Another steal. Opportunity in front. And Vasilevsky stones him again.
Wow. This is the Vasilevsky that you need if you're Tampa. Not only want, but need, especially given the last 3 performances in net. Big save after big save, and I was not sure how he kept that out. Wow.
Absolutely not, Alec. Again, as you called, this looks like the big cat of old. But again, you're going to need to channel Andre here for 3 games. And Tampa will have to win 3 games just to take this series, not 2 like it was last year. And this starts with an offensive zone draw here. They got to win this one to the Bolts, and they will. They'll push this ahead so they could thank their goaltender for keeping this tied, as the shots are certainly now tied 9-9, and the goal is tied 1-1 as this is flipped on the air. Hedman, if they get a piece of it, they'll play with a hand pass and blow it dead.
So we got a scoring update here from Devils Rangers. It's the Devils that struck first. They're up 1-0. They've won 30 games from flying it back in the net first. So that goal was scored by him putting it up on the ESPN app. It's loading for a bit. It's not showing.
Again, we'll take a look at that when we can get it. Again, we'll take a look at that at the end of this 2:53 in the first, because I'm still waiting for my Lightning Maple Leafs reset there as far as what we're covering, as far as what I can type in. But maybe I'll have to load them the NHL side if we get a chance. So Isamont trying to jump in here, and this will be taken away by Jake McCabe there with Brody, as it's recollected now by the Maple Leafs. And again, now Tampa just needs to find a little bit of a push. This has been action over the last 5 minutes, Alex. I would say that this is all Maple Leafs right now. And again, this could easily be a 3-1 scoreline considering some of the chances. But Vasilevsky's come up very large as it's Pagosian. He'll fire one toward the right side dot. And this is a big hit. Somebody blew an edge at the wrong time. And holding the face is one of the Bolts, and we have a meeting. I don't think that was anything crazy, but somebody blew an edge, and we'll see who that is. That was Kucherov that got hit pretty hard.
Wow, do you think that oh yeah, that was really a hard hit towards the boards. Ouch, that's gotta sting. And there's that being, I think it was Justin Hall that initiated the hit, and yes, the Lightning are gonna, confront.
Because this is one of those situations, Alec, where again we call everything right down the middle here, but Kucherov was falling down, he blew an edge. It's just poor timing, and really nothing Justin Hall could do there.
Yeah, there was nothing that Hall could do. There's that Kucherov lost an edge here. Yep, he was getting, he took a wide turn, and there's nothing that Hall could do.
So Kucherov got a little cut. It looks like over either the left side of the eye. I think that's what he got right now. Yeah, it is. So they're going to have to give him a little bit of repairs. Right now, they're just going to do some crazy glue in a bandage. And the reason why I say that is because when I covered one of those games in between the Golden Knights and the Jets, that's what they did for one of the slap shots for Jack Eichel. Actually cut Hellebuck on the face. They mended it with a bandage and some crazy glue before they can give some stitches because they got to get the goalkeeper back on the ice.
Oh. And you also mentioned about stitches. Morgan Barron, he got cut right in the face and came back into the game after getting 75 stitches.
Absolutely nuts. That's why these guys are warriors here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Talk about soccer players, you eat your heart out. As this gets deflected, big rebound again, and Samsonov comes up big. As this is an opportunity for Sergachev to settle it back down. Flip across by Stamkos. And now recollected here for Hagel. Now Sergachev will fake it. He'll shoot. This will bounce right back to him. And the high slot. He'll look to reload. Here comes the bomb. Saved by Samsonov with the left pad. And now the Maple Leafs will pick this back up. As this is slipped back down for Giordano. If he can get it out, he does get it across the red line. And the Maple Leafs can get some reinforcements. As it's 9-9 still on the shot board with 1:25 left to go in this tie game in the first. The Bolts' power play is essentially going to end if they don't score about 13 seconds before the game clock of the first, as this falls back to the right side of the red line. And this is kept in here. Stamkos lets it go. And it's a long shot, but Samsonov will swallow it up, and it's going to be an offensive zone draw coming here for the Bolts.
Yeah, I wonder what these two teams are going to do since Tampa gets a power play out of that Justin Hall hit. You know that it was incidental contact, that hit. So there's nothing really that Hall could do. And I just hope that Kucherov's all right. He is all right. He's back out there on the ice.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's not an egregious hit. It's not anything controversial from anything that we've had to talk about, especially from the games that we've covered here. And again, it's been a few stuff for Alec and I over 3 different games to think about, as this is an opportunity off the faceoff, went up the tie up, and we'll see who gets a hold of this. This will be shoveled towards Samsonov, and now picked up back by Kucherov. So again, he got a little bit mended, got his bandage, and he's back on the ice now for maybe even some possible stitches. And this is sent back away from Sergachev, and this will have to be collected by Vasilevsky. So 40 seconds thereabouts left to go on Tampa's power play. Sergachev will spin this back. This will be for Nikita now. And Tampa will need to get settled here. They got a chance for a couple more rushes before this first period's going to end. It's Killorn now for Kucherov, keeping it alive off the backhand. He puts it in the middle as this is a long turn here for Stamkos, and it's found by Samsonov, but it's not cleared out. This is kept in and toward the blue line. This is in behind the net now of the office as this gets picked up by Killorn. Now for Kucherov in the high slot. It's a chance for Sergachev. Here's Kucherov with the clapper, and this goes off the outside of the cage. Power play is going to expire, but there is about 10 seconds left to go in this first. It's Point trying to funnel it in front of Killorn. And now Stamkos. Tampa scored some late goals here in the first. Here's another one. This one gets blocked. And now it'll be picked up by Marner. That's going to end the first period. We're tied at 1.
Tampa has the offensive momentum to end up this first period like they had early in this frame. And that power play time carrying on over in these final 10 seconds. And some good chances there, only to be met by several good blocks by Toronto defense. Has historically been below average over the last few years, but the moves that Dubas has made, he's making everything right.
Yes, he has, Alec. And on that side, I want to just zone in on something particular that I saw in the sense of, remember a couple games in this first 2 games in the series, you had Kucherov on the power play from the right dot. He had plenty of space to fire and shoot. And there wasn't shot blocks. He scored. This time there were shot blocks. This time Toronto was making a move around, so they couldn't get Nikita Kucherov going with the extra man. So that's a good adjustment for the Maple Leafs going forward.
Yep. If you're looking at the trade deadline positions like Jake McKay, Luke Shen, and even Eric Gustafson, who has not been dressed for this series at all. And that's some of the moves that Dubas has made, and hey, I like those moves that he's making over. And if he can keep those guys over some of those guys over the next season, even better. McKay, it's not a free agent until 2025, by the way.
Yeah, so you have plenty of still maneuverability. And again, if you can get past this round and kind of move everything in the right direction where Toronto's essentially trying to go. I mean, you'd think at least with this team, and I know I'm going way far ahead in the limb, but you'd think with this team, even if they matched up against Boston, you would think that they could get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They have the ability to do that. We'll see if they can press on farther. But if they can at least do that, you would imagine now, like that Kyle Dubas, his job's probably safe, and the core of this team's not really going anywhere. They just really got to get out of this first round and continue to press forward.
They have to, because Kyle Dubas' his job it depends on this series. So if it's a first-round win, he's likely staying and getting a new contract. If the Leafs, by some events, lose this series the same way they did in 2021 against Montreal, then what do? Do you go after a new GM? Do you extend Dubas? Who knows from there? But I feel that the Leafs can close this out. There is a good chance that it happens, but nothing's guaranteed.
No, nothing's guaranteed as far as what's left to go in the series. You would think maybe the Lightning can at least get one more, but Toronto's put themselves in a good service. Again, they were in this position last year at the 3-2 before the Lightning able to close it out and then finish it off at Scotiabank last year. But again, I feel like this is a different team. You and I have talked about it many times in between the Lightning, the pieces that have been lost alongside the long playoff run. Again, this is 4 straight years now where they're trying to go for a long playoff run. Essentially, you're going to run out of ammunition and forces to be able to get the job done. And there really isn't any excuses anymore for the Maple Leafs to be able to knock it out of the first round, considering the team that they have.
Yeah, there are no more excuses. You got veteran leadership up and down the lineup. Last year, they went with more skill players. This year, they're going with the grit and grind at the bottom 6, especially, and the veteran leadership as well. And veteran leadership is what playoffs are about. So they're abandoning the analytics for grit and grind. So analytics may work in regular season, probably not so much in playoffs.
So I know we only have a few other games going on in progress, and I'll try to pull up some of the other boxes or anything else. But do you want to go over any of those? Do you want to let me know what has been the most first round surprising series for you right now? What are some of your thoughts here, Alec?
The most surprising first round series, I got to give it to Avs Kraken. Because I did not expect the Kraken to put the Avalanche on the brink of elimination. Brings during the series of a chance to close it out at home ice in Game 6. Plus, that suspension by Kale McCarr. And even though the Avs have a better record this year without McCarr than they do with him, it's still a shot at going up free during the series if you're the Avalanche. And what Colorado did was, or not Colorado, what Seattle did was frustrate Colorado in Game 5
Yep.
to the point where they had to pull the Alexander Georgiev to try and tie it up a free apiece down by 2. They only got one back, just one. They didn't get the other.
And that shot was a double doink deflection from Evan Rodriguez that bounced off one of the sticks in the offense and Jamie Alexiak just to be able to go in. But again, as Alex said, they're able to get one as we covered that one last night alongside Cooper Hopkins. But I do want to ask you this one, Alec. I'm thinking of that series, and I might go 7. And again, if it does go 7, we could have potentially 4 series on Sunday go to 7. That's what's TBD. But again, everything has to land on the cards. But I'm talking about the Hurricanes and the Islanders. That has been a fun one. We know it's been defensively oriented, and we know these teams probably don't have the most high-powered offenses. But do you think the Islanders, they win this next one and they push to Game 7 on Sunday? What are your thoughts?
They who win the best trophy this year if it weren't for Linus Olmark's historic season.
Mm-hmm.
So Sorokin is going to be the biggest key here. But also, the Islanders' offense up and down the lineup. The defense is what's been emphasized for Long Island, especially after Barry Trotz's exile in favor of Lane Lambert, which was surprising. But the offense needs to be the story for them if they were to go out and force the Game 7. And I'm talking about guys like Matt Barzal, Bo Horvat, Brock Nelson. Those top 3 players on offense need to be key for them. And the net front presence of Anders Lee as well. Pierre Engvall had himself a 2-point night in Game 5. Good 1 goal and 1 assist on that.
And essentially, from what you're saying on the side of it, and I agree with you, you could be seeing a 2-1, a 3-2 would be enough to get it done, but it's who's going to get that extra goal and try to push this into Game 7. If you're Carolina, you want to be able to try to continue to get away from those road woes, because last year, as we talked about, they didn't win a single game on the road away from PNC. Now they got 1. They need to try to get 2 and continue to move on away from that and see what awaits them in the second round.
They have to, especially since Teuvo Teravainen is out indefinitely with that broken hand. And I don't know when he's going to come back at any point this year's playoffs, but it's not looking good for him. Though Mackenzie McEachran got inserted into the lineup and immediately made an instant impact, especially when he spoke with Sebastian Aho. And then, especially after Jack Drury got checked from behind and hit by Ryan Pollock. And boy, that was not good to see if you're Carolina, because Drury was one of the top prospects on Carolina's system, and he's got extended looks for them, especially in the absence of Sebastian Aho earlier in the season.
Yeah, I've seen him play a few times there on the bottom 6, and I've liked what I've seen from the young man on that side. But you're right. Again, at some point, you got to see if you can continue to keep the bodies. And as you're pretty much playing every other day here in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Carolina has been decimated by injuries more so than anyone else. And what I saw interesting before this game started today was even Rod Brind'Amour is considering maybe not using Antti Raanta in their next game. Maybe they'll go back to Freddie Anderson.
That could be the interesting thing here, to see who starts for Carolina in Game 6. Antti Raanta started nearly every playoff game for Carolina last year, as Freddie Anderson was unavailable due to an unspecified injury. So they had to rely on both Raanta and Pyotr Kochetkov. Kochetkov was active as the backup goalie this year. There was a time where he could have still decreased as the future starter in net for Carolina. But a cold string of games prompted them to rely on the tandem of Anderson and Raanta. And now Raanta heading into this game. Anderson was demoted back up. Ronza had the arguably a stronger regular season. Because Anderson looked rather pedestrian in the regular season.
Yeah, and again for Anderson, he's one that's definitely kind of battled some injuries here and there, so we'll have to see how that one continues. For Carolina, we know that they've had the promise. We got to see if they can deliver. It's hey, I mean, it's kind of like the Maple Leafs at some point. You know that they have a good team, but sometimes it's just hard to get out of those early rounds. Alec, I'm going to be right back, and then we can continue some of this stuff, or you can take a look around the league, but I'll be right back. Just give me a couple minutes.
All right. So now as we go over, so we head to the scoring recap of this game. It was Morgan Rielly with the first goal of this game. You start the scoring here in Game 5 as the Maple Leafs are looking for the first playoff series win since 2004. But responding for Tampa Bay is Anthony Cirelli right at the doorstep as he evens it at 1. That's the score after 20 minutes of action. So Tampa Bay with the advantage in the shots on goal. 13 or 15 to Toronto's 9. So over in New Jersey, it's 1-0 Devils. The scoreboard's not getting updated for some reason, and I don't know why it is not. The other game that's happening tonight is the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. That is at 10 o'clock on ESPN2. The Golden Knights can close out this series pretty much the exact same way they closed out the Western Conference Final, where it was between these two teams. Winnipeg won, like the Western Conference Final that year, Winnipeg won the first game of this series. And like the Western Conference Final 2018, Vegas won the next 3. What remains to be seen is if the Golden Knights can win Game 5 at their home ice this time around. Because in the Western Conference Final, it's Winnipeg having the home ice. This time, it's Vegas with the home ice. You look over at the NBA side of things, the only game that's happening is the Boston Celtics and Atlanta Hawks. The Celtics get another chance at closing out their first round series against the Hawks after blowing a 10-point fourth quarter lead in Game 5 and ultimately losing. That is your recap here.
Thank you for that, Alec, on that side. Just going to take a quick little bathroom break as we're going to get set here for the second period. I'm just going to go ahead and type in a couple of these goals. Again, it's only 2 on both sides. It's a 1-1 game on that end. I'm just going to pull up the Google box because we don't have any official times or anything because nothing's loading on ESPN. And when I looked on NHL.com, all they're doing is showing videos. So we know we have Anthony Cirelli on that end for the Lightning, and then we also have Morgan Rielly for the Maple Leafs. It's a 1-1 tie after 1, again, from what we know. Alex here with me, and we're going to see if we can witness history for the first time since 2004. If Toronto get out of the first round, I understand that it's just baby steps, but you got to be able to take those. And this is a fellow that they're very familiar with, and I think Toronto is going to be very happy to get this done and just kind of essentially get that mini curse off their back. All right, I know Alex kind of stepped out for a minute, and I just came back in. I typed in a couple of those goals. I know Alec was giving us a little bit of a reset on that side, but I wanted to throw this out there too, that I was pretty interested to go ahead and say, again, when I was working with Cooper Hopkins on that end yesterday, and I threw out the score in between the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks, and I seen the Milwaukee Bucks up about 15, something like that. I'm thinking, all right, this game's done. And then I go ahead and look and see, well, it looks like Jimmy Butler came back and it's all but over. And I'm surprised, but the Bucks are done. We're gonna go ahead and get Alec back in there. I'm gonna get booted out from the school internet. But yeah, no, the Bucks are done, and it certainly seems like toward the back end of it, from the things that I saw, that Giannis couldn't make a couple free throws down the stretch, and I know he was dealing with a little bit of injuries, and that kind of set things behind the wayside for the Milwaukee Bucks. But again, I'm very surprised. Again, Jimmy Butler, that is, it's all about him in the playoffs, especially. He's able to get it done, but it's the Heat and the Knicks. It kind of feels like 90s basketball right now. It's pretty cool.
Old school basketball indeed. And you look at the type defensive play throughout the series that they were in and the Cleveland Cavaliers, those were low-scoring games. The Cavs only win came when they scored more than 100. They lost every other game where they scored less than 100. No doubt that shows how tight and defensive this series was. Well, same for Game 3. Well, some felt tighter than the final score was, to note. But the Cavaliers need to load up on the bench because the Knicks are a deeper team, and the Cavs they had the star power in Donovan Mitchell, and they also have some good pieces up at the starting five, such as Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Hadn't had a series to note. It was pretty much ice cold for him. So, on the goal scoring side, it was Andre Bolad actually had the first goal for the New Jersey Devils. I just got the notification on that for that. So the Rangers are currently on the power play on their end. But that series is so tight, and they're going up against a Heat team that has playoff Jimmy Butler, who averaged 37.6 points per game in that entire 5-game series. Wow.
I got to tell you, Alec, I mean, I know you just said the numbers, but he's been absolutely unbelievable. Anytime he gets in that playoff mode, that is the NBA moniker that they're using, playoff mode, and that is Jimmy Butler right now over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this too. I was a little surprised, and I guess they shouldn't be, in the sense of Golden State Warriors don't win many road games, but they were able to take one in Sacramento. Now they're going to have to try to light the beam and hope they can get to Game 7, but maybe, just maybe, it's the Warriors winning 4 straight to closing out the Sacramento Kings. Not sure what's going on with De'Aaron Fox with the injury on the shooting hand, but it's going to be all hands on deck here for the Sacramento Kings to not completely fall apart.
Yeah, it's all hands on deck, especially when it comes to a home crowd at Chase Center for the Golden State Warriors. They're one of the better home teams in the league, even though they're one of the worst road teams in the league at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that split is, considering it's still a Steve Kerr-led team, and you still have Steph and Clay and Draymond, but yet they can't seem to be able to get critical road victories until they probably got their most important one just the other day. So now this essentially, and again, this is me jumping just a little bit ahead, but as the Sixers continuing to wait for whoever wins in between the Hawks and the Celtics on that end. For the Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, as we talk about, they're out. So if the Celtics get past the 76ers, do you think that they're going to get to the NBA Finals?
Who do I think is going to make the NBA Finals? Well, this can be an interesting question. The Celtics have had the Sixers number as of late. The Sixers were able to steal one game at their home court. Though at home, it's been all Celtics. So this should be a series to watch. Though I think the Celtics are going to take this series. My main concern is if the Celtics can close out games. That wasn't the case in Game 5 against Atlanta. They have another chance in Game 6 here tonight, 8:30.
So we will find out what that's going to be. I know some of our audio is probably cutting in and out, so I apologize on that end as this is recollected here for Alex Killorn. We are underway now in the second period. It's 14 shots to none on the shot board in favor of the Bolts, but it's a tie game at 1-1. Anthony Cirelli's got the latest. Morgan Rielly had the first. Here's a long shot. It's swallowed up by Elias Samsonov. We'll do it again in the offensive end.
So Tampa's coming out firing in all cylinders, carrying over that momentum from the first period. They look to spoil that first playoff series win since 2004 tonight. That's the game plan that they're going with. Here, there's that shot from the top of the right circle by Victor Hedman.
And again, as Alex said, we're looking at the same thing all the time in the sense of not just TBS feed, but you're kind of seeing the same game plan between these two teams. Try to get a long shot, get a rebound, get something past one of these netminders. It's kind of mind-boggling to me considering the numbers that are in between Samsonov and Vasilevsky. There's a big hit by Justin Hall, able to deliver it against Corey Perry. I'm sure he's not going to like that. But again, it would just kind of speak to moving that puck around, getting shots wherever you can get them, not just kind of designating one game plan. But we'll see if the offense will percolate a little bit here in the second and third, because the first period, from the way that this series has gone, has kind of been off to a slow start. But again, as I've said, I think that might favor Tampa on that end. They don't want to see Toronto get going. So Giordano flips this around the inboards now, and I'll pull back up my lineups as we get a chance for Toronto to go ahead and gain the entry there with Tavares, and this is flipped back here for Hull. Hull with a stretch pass. Tavares gets knocked down, but he still makes the play. Gets it in the offensive zone. It's a 2-on-1 now, but the pass gets deflected, and now Ryan O'Reilly. Now this get knocked away from him, but he's going to find it. Tavares will let it fly, and this one goes off of Vasilevsky. This will stay with Nicholas. Here's another bomb. This one gets deflected. Now to the right side of the red line as Brody got hit in the face with a stick, no call. And this is sent back there for Matthew Nyes. And now I can tell you that the crowd is angry and they have every right to be. He did take a stick in the face. As this is recollected now for Nyes. Nyes trying to spin this around with the help of Tavares and Marner. As this gets a chance for Tavares again off the backhand. That was just fluttered toward the net for an opportunity for Matthew Nyes, Minnesota Golden Gopher. He's acquiesced himself quite well in the playoffs right now. He's getting his first experience. Nyes now toward the left side of the red line, trying to get around the defense of Nick Perbix. This is put in the high slot. Here's a chance. Here comes the bomb for Brody. And this one gets blocked. It's Hedman. Gets it down the ice. 17:30 left to go in this second. It's flipped back down, and it's iced against the Bolts.
Good counter by Toronto on the other side. John Tavares had that good chance right in the high slot to probably get Toronto their second lead of this game. And TJ Brody had that bomb that got blocked right in front. He'll get another good chance after Victor Hedman iced that.
Yes, he will. When I looked at the first replay for Vasilevsky, he's just trying to clear back out to his defense. It was kind of flubbed, and that allowed the Maple Leafs to essentially get into 30 seconds of attack as this is played near the left side of the wall. Now in the high slot, it's Luke Shan with a long shot, and this is swallowed up by the big cat.
So that bigger pressure that Toronto is applying here in the second period, they look to continue this, especially after being outplayed in Game 3, even though they came away with the win. It's the final score that matters the most. Though being outplayed is not exactly what is in their playbook.
No, it's not. I don't think either one of these teams, Alec, as you said, can afford to be outplayed. They're showing Elias Samsonov's career in the postseason. He's 4-7. Again, last year I was able to cover a little bit with the Washington Capitals, and he had a game that he absolutely stole on. So Samsonov can definitely be a really good goaltender. He's been really good at home, especially for the Maple Leafs. As Brandon Hagel by himself, he needs some reinforcements, looking for a cross pass. Alex Killorn pick it up near the right side of the wall. As this is an opportunity here for the Maple Leafs to break out. It'll be Willie Nylander who played off the backhand here for Auston Matthews. Pass just a little bit too far for him. Auston Matthews, look at that steal behind the net as he's still trying to bother Killorn and now win a couple of stick battles as it's Marner. Now for Matthews. Great job by the Maple Leafs front line. Here's a chance that bounced off the left side of the cage. It's off the outside as the net still stays on its moorings. Nylander in behind the office of Vasilevsky. I didn't know if he was going to go for a Michigan, but he definitely tried to wait it out as it's 16:30 left to go in the second. and this is split by Killorn. There's Hagel off the back pass to Rielly, and he fires it wide to the right side wall. Quickly the other way, Zach Aston Reese now, quickly off a change. As this gets deflected, this gets across the blue line, and this will allow the Bolts to pick it up with Nick Paul. Here's a stretch through as he knocks down Justin Holl on the way to try to get to the puck, but this will be an opportunity for the Maple Leafs as it's flipped off the right side of the glass. Sent back down now for Ian Cole. Ian Cole with an outstretched pass, and this will get knocked away by the Bolts. Picked up now in the neutral zone. Ian Cole will just slap shot this in across the red line as Samsonov will take a look on the stand-up near the right post. It'll fall back to Justin Holl. 15:40, thereabouts, left to go in the second. Joining here with you alongside Alec Nava as we take this game in on TBS. We're at Scotiabank Arena. It's an opportunity now for Michael Eyssimont. Eyssimont quickly, short side chance, and he actually scored 5-hole. What a shot for Eyssimont! And the Bolts are off and running again.
His first game back into the lineup after taking that injury in game 1, and instantly 5-0. That's a smart goal by Eyssimont as he plowed his way right through. Oh, right for that tight angle as well.
That is unbelievable, Alec. We know that's a goal that Samsonov is going to want back, but you know what? As you said, it is a smart goal. Eyssimont knew the space that he had. He knew that's the only play he had. Sometimes it's never a bad play to fire right at the net, and Eyssimont gets rewarded.
Coming in with that speed as well from the feed from Zach Bogosian. Just fixes it right between the pads of Ilya Samsonov with that much space that he has. Got him to open up and got around Justin Holl as well.
So here we go again. It's the Bolts with a 2-1 lead. And Alec, they haven't had problems taking the lead in this series. It's just about closing it out. They've got to close out 3 consecutive games. They got to close this one out right now in Game 5 just to get back to Amelie. But again, doesn't really guarantee anything right now because Toronto's been able to score no matter where they've been. And they absolutely shocked the Amelie crowd in the previous game when they came back with 3 goals down, about 10 minutes left in regulation. As this is sent back now, Perbix will do some work to get this around. Perbix one more time to the forward side for Kucherov now and Hedman. Hedman, long outstretched pass. Nicely picked off by the Maple Leafs, and they can push this the other way for John Tavares. Off the backhand, lost it to Victor Hedman, though. There's a chance for Perbix again, but we'll elect for the long flip this time as it gets picked up across the Scotiabank Arena logo. 14:45 left to go in the second. Michael Eyssimont made it 2-1. He was just near the left dot. He fired at 5-hole. He didn't have any other play. He actually beat Ilya Samsonov. So it's 16 shots to 11 now. Tampa's got the edge, and they got the edge on the scoreboard. As it's Kucherov now. Stamkos going to let it fly. And Samsonov, this went off his blocker. It's Kucherov again. Now the Bolts are dangerous. And they're going to shoot it off the right side of the wall. As this gets recollected, Auston Matthews trying to locate. Tampa is trying to move this quickly. It's Stamkos back in the high slot near the right side of the blue line. Is recollected by Kucherov with a pinball shot. This gets deflected. This will stay for Kucherov again. Can this be held in? No. And Sergachev going to go all the way back. And offsides is Kucherov. We get a stoppage at 14:04. So again, we're taking a look at this Eyssimont goal. It's Samsonov just right through the 5-hole. It was just instant pressure over the last about 40 seconds or so from the Bolts. It was Kucherov and Stamkos trying to get things going and ignite. It kind of seems like Eyssimont got it going. Again, as Alex said, he missed the last 3 games, but he's already got on the score sheet here. So Cole. Now here's a chance for Zach Bogosian as this one gets he gets hit and toward the player's bench, but he dumps it in across the red line. And now it's a race for the puck the other way. It'll be left to right for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, they are in the all blue. They're at home right now at Scotiabank, and the Bolts will be right to left. They're in the white shirts with the blue pants as this one gets out of play with a high stick. So 13:44 left to go here in this second period. Michael Eyssimont has just helped the Bolts take the lead. I'm going to make sure that we can get Alec back in here. I just had a little bit of connection issues on that side. So let me make sure that I can get him back in, and then we will get all settled again to call the rest of it.
What about when there is no room, no gas? They've challenged us to do a lot of
So we're going to get Alec back in here again. It's a little bit of connection issues on that. No problem on that side. I'm just glad to be able to have him here with me. Again, we see in the last 40 seconds, it was a chance for Stamkos and Kucherov, everyone else to get things going and get things rolling here. And that's what they seem to do right after the Cisamon goal. We will see if the Lightning get it going. As I talked about, it's been no problem with either team's offense, but the Lightning essentially now have to close it for 3 straight games. They've got the lead one more time, but now we have to see if they can add to it or hold it. That's the question.
Tampa Bay has to hold on to this lead because they cannot afford to blow leads for 3 straight games here. Game 3, they led 3-2, lost 4-3 in overtime. Game 4, led 4-1, lost 5-4 in overtime. Toronto, that's where Toronto is all about perseverance and about weathering the storm. And they've been able to find a way to come back from those deficits. So, quick update here from the NFL. Bryce Young is the first overall pick of this year's draft by the Carolina Panthers.
And thank you for that, Alec. Again, I can't forget that we have to follow that as long as well, especially going in the second intermission, because I know the Lions on my end, they have a couple pretty high picks on that side from the Stafford trade. So we'll keep you up to date as far as the quarterbacks, from the big name pieces, and let you know what's going on. So I appreciate that as always, Alec.
No problem.
So we're looking at Ryan O'Reilly, 2 goals and it looks like 5 assists in this series. My goodness, as he's been everywhere. And O'Reilly is going to get set to take the draw here against Anthony Cirelli. And again, as Alec pointed out, if it was O'Reilly, I know he's getting a little bit older now, but again, because this team's so loaded, you can essentially throw in the bottom 6 forward. And you have a guy that's going to lock down at center. He's won a Conn Smythe. He's won a Stanley Cup. You got all the other leadership that you need. And he wanted to come here. And that's really important for the Maple Leafs, as they want to continue to get this done. I don't think they're going to care if they play Boston or whatever else is left. It's just about making this next step, getting past the Bolts, which is not an easy task. As again, Vasilevsky takes an unsure shovel at the puck, but this just bounces near the left side of the wall. As this gets recollected by the defense's Justin Hall, able to get this back around Giordano. I don't know if he can clear it, as this is picked up now by the Maple Leafs. Sent back down the ice, Noah Chari will flip it all the way down, but this will be iced against the Maple Leafs, so the Bolts going to get an offensive zone drop coming.
Not ideal if you're Toronto, especially since you're down 2-1 in this game. You look to tie it up here and to win your first playoff series in 19 years. This is not what you want to do, taking those icings.
No, it's not. You just talked about weathering the storm. It kind of feels like the Bolts have the momentum yet again, but the question is whether or not they can hold it. What we do know is we're going to redo this offensive zone draw here with 13:06. So Stamkos gets a chance to do this one more time with O'Reilly, and this is flipped back around again. It's 3 closeout opportunities for Toronto, so you feel like they're in a good position. But Tampa's essentially been here before, and again, this is their 4th long run that they're trying to get things going, and there's nothing that they haven't seen at this point. But this is the tallest task that'll be facing against them. And the quote that is in their locker room is "Play like champions, no excuses." I think that's a Wedding Crashers quote from Vince Vaughn, as this is flipped there from Noah Chari, but that's what John Cooper has pasted into the locker room, as this is put up now here for the Bolts, and this is flipped in across the left side of the red line. It must be recollected now by the Maple Leafs with 12:20 left to go in the second. The shots are 17-11 in favor of the Bolts, as this is raced the other way. Sent back down by Willie Nylander. Again, the Maple Leafs, their attack, essentially over the last 5 minutes, is kind of slowed down here, and now it's kind of dissected back into a pace of play here that's been stuck in the mud. Cirelli off the jump start. Huge rebound! And that might have went off the left side of the post. Maybe Samsonov got a piece of the second opportunity. He was down. He made the first save. Here come the Bolts again. Killorn, drop pass for Hagel. That one gets fired along the right side of the wall, as this is set now for Killorn. Killorn now here for Brandon Hagel in the high slot. Victor Hedman fans on the 1T. His stick's not broken, but it's going to be Hedman off the 1-on-1. Here's a chance for Nylander. Nylander not going to try to skate around Hedman. We'll just sit around the end boards. Now on the high slot, a couple of falling bodies. It's Marner patient. High slot, chance gets blocked. Tavares trying to provide the screen, And now it's the Maple Leafs off the spin and drag. It's Mitchell Marner trying to keep this alive on the right side wall. And now there's an opportunity here for Hall. He's stuck in a pinch. Sent back around for Giordano. Now it's Marner working his way through. This goes off the left pad of Vasilevsky. As now all of a sudden it's in the offensive end for the Leafs. Recollected here for Hall. Short side shot. This gets saved by Vasilevsky. Tampa can't get it out. Now we're at 10:50 in the second. It's all Leafs. Here's Marner, patient, right side dot, spin, falls down. No penalty call. Lighting. It's a 3-on-2. Here's Paul. Let's it go. Big save, Samsonov. Non-stop action the other way. Here's a chance now for the Maple Leafs with Hall. It's a 2-on-3. Gains the entry now. Sends this back around to the left side of the wall. As the Bolts try to find it. And now Hedman will pull this one back to Ian Cole. Long outstretched pass as Maroon dodges ahead. And this is sent back around for Morgan Rielly. Near the right side of the wall. That was a heck of a sequence that we just had, and we will get Alex's thoughts in a moment when we get a stoppage. 10:05 left to go in this second. As this is picked up now by Ian Cole. We officially at the halfway marker. The Bolts have the 2-1 lead. Again, this is game 5, and it's a 3-1 series. This is held a little bit too long for Samsonov, so they will have to play dead.
This was non-stop action between both of these teams, as you said, John. And you look at the missed chance by Tampa, that big rebound, that wide open net, and Anthony Cirelli decided to go far side instead of near side, where he had that wide open net. Toronto on the other side is just firing on all cylinders, left and right. Stop after stop by Vasilevsky. This is the performance that you needed if you're Tampa.
Yes, it is, and this is looking more like the game. Again, I said this in the open. I wasn't sure if we were going to get it. If we were going to get a 3-2, 2-1 type game, more of a playoff scoring duel. Seems like we got that right now. Again, on the YouTube side, Alec, we got a couple Lightning fans in here, and Silver Hockey's pretty much trying to pull for Lightning to get this one done. Again, they have the lead, as we talked about, but it's all about trying to add to it, close to it, because as you said eloquently, Toronto's kind of weathered that storm, and then once they weather it, they push, and they've overwhelmed Tampa in this series so far. So again, my apologies on the other end. I got a little bit of a Pekingese barking dog on the other end. It's a little bit of an early game. Sometimes I take the night ones, make sure everyone else is asleep. But we will see the way the rest of this series goes. But again, it's one of the situations here. Eastham outscored the latest. We just had 2 good rushes. Samsonov's had a good game so far, and Vasilevsky's had a good game so far. That would also speak to the fact that both of these goaltenders need to get their numbers up, and they've done so far here in Game 5.
So far, so good, yeah. And keep in mind that this is without Eric Chernak in the lineup for Tampa Bay. So far, it's been so good without him. He took that injury in Game 1 after that high hit to the head from Michael Bunting that earned Bunting that 3-game suspension. But Tampa's been up to the challenge thus far.
Yes, they have. So, admittedly, on the Saturday side, I have a local son with the Waterford Sharks as far as a playoff game. If they don't need me for Sunday, and I'm assuming they may not because we only stream on the Saturday side, if there is a Game 7, it's going to be TBD, but I will be on board to do one of those as we'll look for a first-round closeout if we get to a Game 7. Potentially, that could be Carolina, the New York Islanders. We'll figure out when we get to it. So that'll be the next streaming day for me, if at all possible. But I'm glad to have Alec here with me right now for this Thursday side. This is cleared all the way down. Vasilevsky will play it. And we're back underway here with 9:45 left to go in the second. As one of the Lightning gets absolutely dumped, and now it's an opportunity for David Kampf. As this is picked up now, off hits the trailer near the right side of the wall and sent back around here for Kerfoot, trying to play this off the backhand. As this gets intercepted, this will fall to Kampf momentarily, but now it'll be Pat Maroon. Send this across here for Mikhail Sergachev. And we'll just take an ease on the Jets here, kind of straddle in as this goes back for the Lightning the other way. They get the seal. Here's a chance for Pat Maroon to send it around for Corey Perry, the grit and sandpaper line. As this is picked up here for Cole, so you got 4th line with 3rd line defense. Bogosian, Stamkos now across the wall. They mixed a little bit with points, so John Cooper's kind of toying with all the lines right now. And will we get a penalty, a delay of game against the Leafs? I think we will. This will put the Bolts on the power play.
So as we're seeing here, not the best decision. Sometimes when you're trying to clear the puck, you're just trying to elevate it to a distance where you're not trying to ice it and try to get between the goal line and the blue line. Here, the Leafs just try elevate this right above the glass, right out of play from their own end. Oh man,
And yes,
that's always one of the toughest penalties to take. Just
yeah,
trying to bank this around the boards, and unfortunately, just too high.
yes, it is. And again, you put Alexander Kerfoot in the box. You put him in a situation where he can run the power play and kill penalties. He's a really good two-way forward on that bottom six. So he gets a delayed game. And now it's an opportunity for Mikhail Sergachev. Again, the scoreline still 2-1. Michael Eassaman had the only goal of the second to give the Bolts the lead. And now this is sent the other way. And will this be iced on their own power play? Yes, it is. So the Maple Leafs will get an opportunity for a draw.
One of the rare times where you see icing on a power play. That's not very common here, but it just happened here.
8:41 left to go in the second, so this is an all-important draw. Again, essentially, you can allow Toronto to mix out whatever they want in the penalty kill. They have good face-off guys on that end. They can kill maybe 20, 30 seconds at this time, but this will go to the Lightning. Good work there. And top line get things started. It's an opportunity for Mikhail Sergachev. Again, he was newly minted to a contract not too long ago, a 7-year deal alongside Eric Chernak. But he's not available in this series from that hit that was sustained. As this is sent back down, that was for Michael Bunting. He wasn't playing. He didn't take Matthew Nye's spot, did Sheldon Keefe. So this is an opportunity here for Steven Stamkos to put this around the right side of the boards. And Nikita Kucherov tries to find Stamkos, but it'll be Killorn with the hold. This gets centered right out in front, but this will go right to the Maple Leafs. Flipped all the way down where Vasilevsky will shovel it forward. Here to giant Victor Hedman, number 77. About a minute left to go here on Tampa's second power play of the game. There's only been about 3 penalties across the board, and Tampa's got 2 power plays. They're trying to get a goal on either one of these, as this is collected here for Nick Paul. But he gets canceled off the puck by David Kampf and sent all the way down the ice one more time toward Vasilevsky. 35 seconds thereabouts left to go here on the Tampa Bay power play, but they turn it over. Here's a chance for McCabe, and that one gets fired to the left side of the wall. And now McCabe, this gets deflected. Huge reverse hit the other way. And now another steal for the Maple Leafs. Here now for Marner, as he can kill some time. Shovel it out in front. This can't be recollected, but this is behind the office of Andrei Vasilevsky. And now sent back around as Tampa kind of dodges a bullet there. The fans love that forecheck. Here's a chance for Nicholas Paul. He was a great pickup from the Ottawa Senators just a year ago. As this is sent back around, stolen. Flip back down the ice here for Hedman. And that power play didn't get anything accomplished there, Alec. That was good pressure by the Maple Leafs as Hedman sends this across, getting the entry due to the Bolts. But this gets picked off by McCabe. McCabe now with a Colm outlet pass all the way across the red line. And this will be iced. Ian Cole will pick up the hybrid icing.
Oh, great job by Toronto on killing off this Tampa power play. These two teams are not too far from each other in terms of power play, so this was a big kill by the Leafs to keep this a one-goal game.
Yes, it was, and it was very surprising on that. And not only said just a big kill, but they had actually some really good scoring opportunities. It's a good hit there, a good reverse one between Colton and McCabe. Jake McCabe's been pretty good in this contest, Alex, so far.
He has been.
This is right off the draw and recollected by Point, but the shot gets blocked. And now Toronto quickly trying to push this the other way. Kerfoot back on the ice. He's going to go ahead and take his changes. I imagine Sheldon Keefe's going to go ahead and rock with Auston Matthews, or at least John Tavares. I do see Matthews on the ice. It's Kucherov with the injury near the left side of the dot. He's in full flight. Here's a drop pass, goes to nobody. Plays off the embankment. Sacrificial shot block against one of the Maple Leafs. Here's an opportunity now for Willie Nylander. They're very slow to get up on the other end, but I couldn't get a number on it. Kucherov throws it down. As this is picked up now for Stamkos, so gain it into the neutral zone, trying to drop it in for Kucherov. He got spun like a top. This does get picked off by Steven and sent back the other way for John Tavares. Now this will be an opportunity for the Maple Leafs to send it the other way with Morgan Rielly, and now gain the entry. Here's Tavares. What a stick drag through. And this one get taken out of play somehow.
Oh, and a stick drag by John Tavares right up the other side. And boy, he's been having it good throughout the series thus far. So he, Matthews, Nylander, and Marner has been averaging at least a point per game. Oh, he had a sweet move around Victor Hedman, regardless. One of the better defensive defensemen in the league. And that was sweet.
That was sweet. And you saw Matthew Nyes, man, he really took a piece of that slap shot as he was slow to get to the bench. But Alec, as you know, this time of year, you got to be able to pay a price, get in front of the net and block shots. And that's going to be very thankful for his teammates. Matthew Nyes with a heck of a shot block there.
An absolute warrior, especially dating back to his days at Minnesota. Even when he played at that top line with Logan Cooley and Jimmy Snuggerud.
Yeah, they never forgot about their defensive responsibilities for as good as they are, didn't they?
They did not. And quick update in the NFL draft, the Houston Texans select C.J. Stroud with their second pick. They trade up to the third pick with the Arizona Cardinals on the other side. Trade up from 12 to 3 and select Will Anderson Jr. at defense.
So wait a minute, hold on. You got the Texans traded up again to get second and third?
They originally had second.
Yeah.
They trade up to get the third.
Wow. So Will Anderson was one of the best rushers right out of the Crimson Tide, and then they also go ahead and they take a flyer on C.J. Stroud. I wasn't sure that Stroud was going to be number 2 or number 3. I know he's been rumored there. I got to see a lot of them as an Ohio State Buckeye in the Big Ten, but that's probably a pretty good haul there for the Houston Texans as they look to get started again. I kind of like that.
And to get their rebuild up and going.
That's heady to be able to go from 13 to 3 on that end. So we'll see how that one goes. But I'm excited to see what C.J. Stroud can do. I definitely know he's got a cannon for an arm.
He does. It's just a matter of if the Ohio State quarterbacks can transcend that talent over to the NFL level. Justin Fields, he looks most likely like that guy can transcend his talent over to the NFL level.
Yes.
Stroud can. It remains to be seen.
No, that's a good call by you on that side because there are some promise there with Justin Fields. But you're trying to hopefully get the throwing ready. And for C.J. Stroud, you got some of that bomb, but can you do everything else? So we're back underneath the action here. 5:40 left to go in the second. It's still a 2-1 lead here for the Bolts. And again, Alec, this feels more so like the playoff game that I would be expecting between these two. It's a lot of shot blocks, and it's just you're paying the price here as this is deflected. I actually think this is found by Samsonov somehow, as it's a stoppage with 5:28.
So then Toronto's trying to swing back momentum, but Tampa's just not having them easy at all. And honestly, that's not surprising because you never have it easy against Tampa, the defending Eastern Conference champions for 3 years in a row.
No, absolutely not. And again, I mean, Eric Chernak, Alec, is a huge loss. Don't have him in there, and some of the depth that we talked about. We've listed those names over the last couple of years. I mean, if Tampa still had all those other players, you would figure maybe they could win maybe 3 or 4 of these in a row. But that's what happens. You can't continue to keep your lineup together and you're trying to go for these long playoff runs. What Tampa's done, regardless if they lose today, it's been a hell of a run for the Bolts, and they should be pretty proud about what they've done. I mean, they made 3 consecutive Stanley Cup finals. They're trying to do something again, but this is going to take a Herculean effort, so to speak, because they're down 3-1 in the series. But they got a 2-1 lead in this game yet again. They've had the lead, but they got to be able to continue to add on it or hold it, as it's David Kampf now. Picking up near the right side of the wall as this gets sent back around the inboards. Can this be picked up in the high slot? It's a race for it as Tampa doing a great job trying to close it out. And Sam Lafferty actually bounces it off of David Kampf, but a great back check there by Corey Perry. Again, he looks good on the fourth line as this is picked up now for Pierre-Edouard Bellemare toward the red line side and flipped in. Ilya Samsonov, take a look, drop it back to the defense, and TJ Brody. And now Toronto. Cave's got to spin around, is able to get around a hit there from the Bolts. And this is sent quickly the other way. Here's a chance for Marner on that first line side. This gets flipped across. Marner gets smoked by Cole. As this is sent the other way, Kucherov. Kucherov drop for Stamkos. All off the pipe. It stays out. That was a big hit by Cole against Marner, and it just rang the crossbar.
Insane. Oh. You can feel that hit from a mile away. Because, man, that was big. I just say big. And then Stamkos the other side. That beat Samsonov, but not the post. Meanwhile, you got the Devils scoring to go up 2-0 over Prudential Center.
That absolutely shocks me, and I will get your thoughts on that as soon as we get this stoppage. As it's Stamkos now toward the right side of the dot. Kucherov looks good here as this is blocked up high. Samsonov makes the save, but this will stay with the Bolts. They're really starting to move this thing, Alec. As Sergachev sends this in the left side of the red line. Marner and Tavares been stuck out there for a long time, and Brody and Mikhail almost near 2 minutes. This will fall to Samsonov. He makes the save. But boy, oh boy, this game is taking a turn. And do we know who's got that latest goal for New Jersey just yet?
It might have been Eric Holla who got the deflection in front.
So I'm going to be completely surprised if the New Jersey Devils now take a 3-2 series lead. I know it's the first round, but that makes me feel like last year when the Rangers were up 2-0 and the Bolts just said, nope, we're going to get 4 straight. Maybe the Devils can do the same against the Rangers, and that would shock me completely.
It would.
But again, maybe it's as simple as Akira Schmid on that end. And he's doing the damn job, and that's what we got right now.
He looks to be the goalie of the future in New Jersey, and he's showing.
He's showing it against the Rangers team and the Blue Shirts in Original Six that loaded up for Bear in that Eastern Conference. And that's going to definitely bust my bracket because I had the Rangers, I think, in 5 or 6, but I had them in 5 to start. That looked good, but New Jersey might get 3 straight. We got 2:55 left to go here in our second. It's still a 2-1 lead for Tampa, and Toronto has just iced it.
And just right now, Akira Schmid just absolutely robbed Capo in tight glove side. It was a bouncing puck right around. Oh my goodness, what a save.
So he's certainly feeling good right now. And again, I appreciate Alec giving me double looks. He's also holding in on the NFL draft. We're getting NBA scoring updates. We got a lot to cover here today. I'm just glad to have you along with me as it's 2:53 left to go in the second, and Giordano will flip this one down. This is picked up across the hands. Matthew Nyes. Darren Pang was saying maybe he's gone to the locker room. We will see and keep our eyes if he's going to be back out on the ice. You get the play blown dead with 2:41.
And to add on to that, when you mentioned NFL draft, I got to mention right now because Anthony Richardson is headed to Indianapolis with the 4th overall pick.
And that was one of those things that was more to be expected, correct, of the quarterback?
It was either going to be him or Will Levis on that.
Yep, so that just means that the Colts will have yet another starter under center after so many years. Again, they've been kind of rotating those bowling pins ever since Andrew Luck has been gone.
And they have. You look at guys like Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, and a few glimpses of Sam Ellinger as well.
Absolutely. As Mikhail Sergachev gets us across the red line now, got about 2:20 left to go in this middle frame. Toronto down, but they're only down 1. Nylander for a 5-hole attempt. This was stopped by Vasilevsky, but now the Maple Leafs have it in behind the office of the Big Cat. Along the butterfly down the crouch, and this goes in between Hagel. Now Shen picks it up, gets a deflection for Yarncroc. Oh, it's off the top of the cage. And this is still live now. Nylander trying to send it out in front. And Killorn will flip it out as the Bolts get away from danger. And an opportunity now for O'Reilly as this is sent quickly back in. And this is blown dead as it's bounced off the netting.
Oh, Toronto tried to counter. And, man, those were several good looks by them. Many great different chances right them at the offensive end. And, man, they're trying to respond in kind, but it all comes down to if they can put it right behind the net.
It makes you feel a little bit better, Alec. I know we talked about it throughout this series, but Vasilevsky looks like Vasilevsky for the first time in this series. And when you know it, it's yet again a closeout opportunity in which he ignites his play. He's got to continue to remain that, though. Again, not just for the rest of this 60, but maybe even for another 120 minutes at least or more after that. It's going to take that much. Big time collision near the right side boards. Not sure what that was all about. But this will fall back now as Victor Hedman lost it. Kucherov will try to throw it. It was Ryan O'Reilly, the one that took the check, but he pops right back up as we got a minute 20 left to go in the second. Trying to recollect now is Ryan O'Reilly. We'll send this back now. Fake the slapper here for Camp as this is played in off the stick blade and sent back around Lafferty. This is opportunity now for the Maple Leafs to pick it back up again toward the right side dot. Recollected now by the Bolts. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare will flip it out as we've been a minute left to go here, Alec, in this second. It's still a 2-1 lead for Tampa Bay against Toronto. Not only do they need to win this game, but they need to win the next two just to be able to continue and have a chance. They're down 3-1 in this series. Toronto's got plenty of closeout opportunities, and they're right there. And both of these teams are given as good as they get right now as the shot board's 24-16. It's a battle near the left side of the red line now. Pat Maroon trying to spin off Giordano and Matthews and Hall also in there on the hold. The ref can blow this dead if he feels like the puck isn't being moved, but we're seeing that in an extreme close-up, and it's still kind of just rattling around, but it's stuck in between skate blades. But it gets pried loose now near the left side of the wall. Now toward the right, this will be collected across the red line. Here's a chase. Sergachev bumps Tavares off the puck, and Matthews tries to finish his check as it's sent back down. 5 seconds left to go in the second. This will be played by Samsonov. That is going to end the second period. The Bolts score the only goal of the second. It's 2-1. And now we get some pushing and shoving. It's Auston Matthews trying to throw gloves. And I believe Maroon wanted a piece of it as Giordano got sandblasted at the end of this period.
So that's the whole thing. You don't hurt the old guard. Giordano, 39 years of age. Of course, everyone's gonna come right after Pat Maroon. And of course, you don't get away with that hit. Giordano is down on his knees. Got his slow to get up, but maybe he can come back for the third period. I just don't know as of now, but I have to wait and see about that one. But that looked like an ugly hit by Pat Maroon.
That's a boarding, isn't it?
Yeah, that is clear boarding. And if this stands, Toronto heads to the power play with the first 2 minutes of the third.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense to me, Alec, on that side. If you're the Bolts and you're Pat Maroon, why would you even do that? Again, you're winning this game right now. You're trying to shut down the opportunities, and you get a very lethal power play, and the Maple Leafs an opportunity to do some damage. That's just a poor penalty by Maroon.
And a disciplined penalty by him for sure.
So that is going to make for some interesting talking points and seeing what happens here in this third period. As see a little F off talk there from Maroon is he's still not going to the locker room here. You just see Kyle Dubas shaking his head, and him and his full head of hair as he's none too pleased. And Pat Maroon has yet to leave the ice, and he looks like he wants a piece of all the Maple Leafs right now. This is kind of getting a little bit ugly on this side.
Yeah, I feel this is getting ugly, and you can see this from a mile away as soon as Maroon laid that hit. It's just, ouch, all caps, ouch.
You got
underlined, italicized, ouch, simply ouch.
You're definitely getting all of those with all the fonts as well. As this is sent across, and we looked at the faces of Sheldon Keefe, and it just looks like Pat Maroon. We're just relaying what we see. He's got a big smile on his face. He's embracing the hatred here. But again, this just is not a smart decision here for Pat Maroon. He knows better. He knows what it takes. And we will see, admittedly, going to the third period, if the Maple Leafs can strike and tie this game, because you're just going to hand opportunities here for the Maple Leafs that are already in a closeout situation. Not too smart there.
I would not be surprised if the Leafs fans boo Pat Maroon every time he touches the puck the rest of the way. The fan reaction here is going to be something worth to see.
Yes, it is. And we're going to take a look right now because we have some time. Do you want to do a live look in here between the Devils and the Rangers, Alec?
All right, just some news here along in the NFL draft. The 5th overall pick by Seattle, Devon Witherspoon, corner from Illinois.
and he was going to be one of those top guys to be talked about as well. So I wonder what that's going to leave for the Detroit Lions when they get to it, because I know their pick is upcoming soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is the sixth pick in this draft, so I'd be curious to see what Detroit picks for the sixth overall pick that they got from the Matt Stafford trade. Just a win-win in my eyes.
I think it is too. Again, I'm not the full-blown fan that Patrick Rush is. I don't drink the Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid, Alec, only because, again, I am from Detroit, but on the side of it, they haven't really given us anything to be excited about, with the exception of the last year, unless you're talking about the 1940s when none of us were born. So you know how it is for me. You get tired of seeing all that stuff. That's why I always kind of followed the Red Wings and the Pistons and the Tigers more so. But even I can tell you that things are starting to look up. But that gambling ring situation with Jameson Williams, I was not too pleased about that. I don't really understand why.
Yeah, me neither, especially since it's inside your own team facility. I just don't understand.
when you're thinking about all the goodwill there in between Dan Campbell and the GM and everything else like that, that just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I flipped in, and again, we will take a look probably about 10 minutes from now. I'm not going to keep this too long, but looks like all New Jersey Devils. I seen Igor Shesterkin made about 4 saves in a row just to keep this 2-0 as it's 9:40 in the second.
Yeah, several good saves by the goalies here and between the Rangers and Devils here. Shesterkin, he allowed a goal that he wished he would have had back right here.
And again, I know we've heard those comments at MSG when it was against Vitek Vanacek, where it said Igor is better. I wonder if we're going to get the Schmid is better, because that would be.
I wonder, because this is Hudson River rivalry, and I expect it to get ugly in both ways. And these fans chanting "Let's go Devils" followed by boos, and then the chance of "Let's go Rangers" on the other side, because you see these two venues are just a drive away from each other.
And that's what makes this series so cool, Alec, from what you spoke about, in the sense of, hey, you got Rangers and Devils fans on both sides that are going to show up in full force. And this has been a series, admittedly, I haven't been able to cover a game of, but maybe even if we get to Game 7, this will be the first one that I'll look at. Again, I thought this could be one of the most interesting series in the Eastern Conference. It certainly didn't start that way, but it's certainly shaping up to end that way.
And it feels the momentum shifted in Game 3 the moment they put Akira Schmid in nets. Got a glimpse of overtime in Game 3 where Dougie Hamilton had that overtime winner, his first overtime winner of his playoff career. He had back-to-back overtime winners in the regular season, Justin Oaks.
Let me ask you a question that just popped in my head, if you don't mind, in the sense of, we thought about the Toronto Maple Leafs and a potential first-round exit, although it's not likely. How disappointing that would be. Let me flip it to you this way. What happens if the Rangers get knocked out in the first round?
I don't know what they do from here if they lose to the Devils in this first round, because the thing is, there's a difference in what they were going right after in this draft, or in the trade. I'm thinking of the NFL draft here. I apologize here, but the Rangers and Devils, they're going right after two contrasting things. The Rangers were looking to add Stanley Cup experience. The Devils were looking to add youth. And they got their wishes, both of them.
And we got a fight for Barclay Goodrow on the other end. We'll see what happens here. Is Barclay Goodrow trying to get a couple hits there on ball? They're just tied up. Ball with a huge right hand. He staggers Goodrow. Goodrow tries to stay on his feet now. And now there continues to be a little bit of a holding here. Goodrow trying to get a couple overhands. And uppercut was here's ball with a big uppercut on Goodrow, but connected toward the chin. Now toward the right side of the boards, and they'll tie this one up as both combatants give a pat on the back.
And the stick taps coming from the benches and after the ensuing chaos.
Man, this has definitely got a little spicy here between these two teams. Again, we expected that to be the case. But all I'm thinking about, the same thing that Alec is, where is the offense going to come from here for the Rangers? It's essentially dried up, as we will have a little bit of a delay here, admittedly, as the Zebras and everybody else They're talking with Nico Hischier on the other side is a host of Rangers, and the blood is starting to boil a little bit.
Yeah, blood is boiling. You know, these two teams hate each other. You're going to expect that.
The referee flat out just told somebody after the unsportsmanlike, says, go sit down immediately as they were mic'd up. So 7:56 left to go in the second. New Jersey is holding on to a 2-0 lead. We will get a look at some live replays. It was Ball with a reverse hit on Goodrow. Goodrow didn't like it. And then Jimmy Vesey, good old-fashioned hip check from Ball that will take him down on the other end. And that's what led to the fight as we go to a commercial break. Very interesting indeed.
Very. And I'd be interested to see how this all turns out in the end of it. Do the Rangers come back and overcome what the Devils are employing to shut down the Rangers, especially these last two games?
Yeah, it's definitely a chess match, and we know every single one of these ones go 7 games. But I would be absolutely lying to you, my friend, if I thought that the Devils were going to come all the way back. And again, to the question that I raised to you, I agree with you. I really don't even know what the Rangers will do, but I do think that potentially that could be the biggest disappointment of all, even on the other side. And we're talking about situations where it's the Maple Leafs and the Lightning. We're talking about a disappointing situation that could possibly be in between the Kraken and the Avalanche. To say that the Rangers wouldn't be at the top of that list, I think we would be doing fans a disservice if they say their fans wouldn't be disappointed, all things considered.
Yeah, Rangers fans will be disappointed if they don't get to a deep run here because they're one of the favorites to go to the Eastern Conference Final. At the same time, so are the Devils. These two teams are evenly matched, in my opinion, and this could likely go 7 games.
Yes, it could, and then also bears the question of I believe Tarasenko is signed for another year, but not Kane. So they'll have some other things to figure out. They're not going to keep everybody together. Who's going to be the hero here? Is it going to be the kid Linus? Is Sturkin going to outplay Schmid? Because right now, within games 3 and 4, we're in game 5 right now, giving a live look in as Emily Kaplan is talking there on the other side for Gerard Gallant. But in games 3 and 4, it's been the Schmid experience, and he's looked good. So face-off win here for Fox and Kane. It's a power play here for the Rangers, and admittedly they're going to have to get something going. So this is Adam Fox here for Patrick Kane near the right side dot. And it's good to get a live look into this because I haven't even covered any of this series at all. This is sent back across for Panarin. Breadman's got it. He'll flip it. This is a bouncing puck picked up near the right side of the wall. And now it's Kane. He'll try to play it across as Hischier tries to get this one out. And this will fall back to Fox. Fox now in the high slot. We'll take a look at it. Chris Kreider will go back and pick it up as this is knocked away from Panarin. And now the Devils have an opportunity almost off this rush. Graves will watch this one go by. So Stricken with a really good outlet pass. Oh, for the last 12 are the Rangers on the power play. That's very unlike the Rangers on that side. They can be very deadly on the power play as this is Fox. Now with Kane. Near the right dot, patient there for Adam Fox. He can be a Norris Trophy candidate. It's Panarin. Now for Fox, really looking for a lane right now. Seems like the Rangers are unsure what they want to do. They want to get in tight, but there's not the space. Fox in the high slot, it's Zibanejad, and now Patrick Kane. This is sent back around here for Adam. There's a bouncing puck, and this is picked off. This is a 2-on-1 opportunity for the Devils. Cross scores! Short-handed goal, it's 3-0.
The tide has completely turned in favor of New Jersey here. So if there's anything about this in which you can change the series, Akira Schmid is pretty much going to be the hero for them. And the power play for the Rangers has started off so well in this series has now gone ice cold, especially giving up that short-handed goal just recently. Wow.
Dawson Mercer gets an absolutely perfect pass from Eric Halla, and he rifles a one-timer to the top right crossbar on a moving puck. That is a gorgeous shot and a short-handed 3-0 lead for the New Jersey Devils. I am absolutely flabbergasted here, Alec.
I mean, yeah.
Jacob Trouba now 20 seconds left to go in the New York Rangers power play. That's automatically an immediate disaster, and it's going to get worse. They've iced it.
It's just everything going wrong for the Rangers in these last 3 games. And what do you do now? It's game plan. I don't know what's going on for our Rangers town.
No, Alec, honestly, I agree with you. What do you do to change things? If you can't find a way to solve Schmid and be able to get some of these shots, yeah, I would say immediately from what I just watched now, especially in the power play, you got to funnel some opportunities at the man. You can't just move the puck and then let it get stolen for a short end of breakaway. I know that that's obvious, but it seems like the Rangers could certainly increase the workload. You got to start there. But essentially, they're going to be at a point where they'll go back to New York, where they've got to win the game at MSG, and then they got to steal one again at Prudential. So Lafreniere now, it's full strength, and it's stolen again, right in off the box. Here's an opportunity for the Devils. Cross pass, and that would have been a wide open breakaway if that was collected, as the Rangers are just kind of shooting themselves in the foot. It's the kid line now for Lafreniere. When we get a stoppage, I'll move this back over there to our featured game. Jonas Siegenthaler gets the steal, and this is picked up now. So Igor Chance are being serenaded at Prudential. Boy, oh boy, how the tables have turned. 5:20 left to go in this second. It's a 3-0 lead for the Devils. The shots are 20-17. Again, that's more along the lines of the complete second period of our featured game that we will be getting back to. As Mika Zibanejad now. And toward the right side dot, it's Kreider. He's patient, try to collect good defense and finish off there by Andre Palat. And maybe Andre Palat's going to be in a better position than he would be if he stayed with the Lightning. As the Devils trying to look to take a 3-2 series lead against the Rangers of all teams. As this is sent back around. To the right side, Don Schneider going to let it go for the traffic. Turnaround shot. Zibanejad robbed by Akira Schmid with the right pad. And this is sent back down the ice again. 4:35 left to go in this second. As this is sent all the way down and it's iced one more time. I'm going to flip back across to our featured game, but I was glad to give you that. Short-handed goal for New Jersey. They're up by 3.
Wow. It's quite the shock, honestly, because, man, but when you realize that the Devils, they're playing better with Schmid in net during the season, and he looks to be the goalie of the future, and it's these last 3 games, they're showing why. Probably if they go over to the Stanley Cup final behind his back, he could be one of the favorites for the Conn Smythe Trophy. Maybe we could have a future Vezina Trophy at our seats.
You know what? I think you and I covered a couple of these Devils games on that side when we took a look at it. And I think it was against the Lightning on the one that we did. And you're right, because I think we noticed Schmid as a standout then. But exactly, if you're Lindy Ruff and you're the rest of the organization and Tom Fitzgerald, well, you know you have your goaltender for the rest of this series, don't you, and the rest of the playoffs going forward.
Yeah, you have your goalie for the rest of the series and the playoffs to an extent. Maybe you can reward him with an extension in the future once his rookie contract is up.
Yeah, so essentially what that's going to do is the backup. Again, I know Jonathan Bernier was injured, didn't get a chance to play all year. But Mackenzie Blackwood will be no longer needed because if you have Vitek Vanacek and Akira Schmid, I think Devils will feel pretty good about what they got as far as a 1-2 combination. That could be one of the better goaltending tandems in the league.
Yeah, I put Schmid as the starter and Vanacek as a high-end backup, in my opinion, given the traction of both these goalies.
Yeah, given the way that it's going right now, you're not going to get any argument from me on that end.
Yep. Igor, he's still one of the better goalies in the league. Schmid has had the upper hand throughout this series thus far from the moment that he was brought in.
So we will see what ends up happening with this one, but I'd be very hard-pressed. Again, I got it wrong yesterday with the basketball side. I thought the Bucks were not going to blow a huge lead in the fourth quarter. They did. I don't see the Rangers getting 4 straight goals to upend the Jersey Devils. You never know, but I don't think that's going to be possible considering what we are waiting on about another hour and 15 minutes from now, maybe more so, depending on how long the game goes between the Devils and the Rangers. But that's going to be on ESPN2. Again, no Josh Morrissey, maybe no Ehlers, no Scheifele. host of injuries. The Winnipeg Jets are up against it. They're at T-Mobile against Vegas. It's game 5. I think the Golden Knights get it done tonight. What say you?
I think so too, because, man, Vegas, this feels like and once again, as I point out, this feels like a carbon copy of the 2018 Western Conference Final. Winnipeg won the first game, then lost 4 straight. We may be seeing the exact same thing.
Yeah, we are. And again, for Laurent Brossoit, he's done the job for what he's needed to do. Connor Hellebuck, I mean, I understand certain games might not go your way, but he hasn't been bad in this series. Far from it at all. He's been much better than Samsonov and Vasilevsky. But when you're missing all those pieces in your Winnipeg and the way Vegas has played all year, I just don't see it. Again, you and I took Winnipeg to start this as far as our playoff predictions, and I thought we felt pretty good about those. And I did as far as some of the other personnel, but Winnipeg has just been destroyed by the injury bug, and that comes at the wrong time against a Vegas team that, again, coming from last year, missed the playoffs for the first time in franchise history, and they're not so long. It's about 6 years now. But they want to turn things and make it right. Vegas is still a really good team. I'll admit to you, Alec, I don't know if they can lift this cup, but I do think they can at least get to a Western Conference final.
That's as long as you don't get smoked by a white-hot Oilers team. Because over that series between the Oilers and Kings, the Oilers are doing everything right. The Kings have stolen 2 games, both of those coming in overtime. So outside that, it's been the Oilers controlling the pace of play throughout this series. Edmonton is doing everything right in this series, outplaying LA by a margin. Even though Connor McDavid didn't have an even strike point in the first 3 games, he has got several in the last 2. I think that could still be the case in Game 6. He can only hold him down for so long before he breaks out.
Yes, you can. And the one thing I will say this, because all of your points are exactly correct, and I won't refute any of those. The only reason why I was still holding on to the Kings in 7, again, I got that wrong last year, and it was Oilers in 7. I think it might be Oilers in 7 again. The one thing that does benefit the LA Kings, Alec, on that side is this Game 6 isn't until Saturday, so they'll get plenty of time, get back to crypto, get things reset, and we'll see what happens. I think that they can win it at crypto, but I think they're going to lose in Rogers when they play Game 7.
I would not be surprised if this goes to 6-4-7 because the Kings know they can push a series. That's the same thing that they did last year when he took that series to 7. So remember, Adrian Kempe had that overtime winner just 72 seconds into Game 5. But this time around, 3 games went to overtime, and the Kings took the first 2. Zach Hyman had the winner in Game 4. And it was 3-0.
Yeah, exactly on that side. And that is courtesy of Steve Dangle with the Alec impression on that, and you nailed it, as it's a power play to start the Toronto Maple Leafs here for 1:30. It was Pat Maroon. It's just a minor for roughing against Giordano. And again, it was kind of a needless hit. Luckily to only get the 2 on that side, as this is sent back around. Here's Tavares in the high slot now, as he's patient and left out, looking for a deflection. Vasilevsky found it. He's down on the butterfly. Here's another chance. And he stops it with the left pad. Andre Vasilevsky looking in prime form. Here's a race for the puck for Killorn. This bounces off Samsonov now. Killorn shorthanded. High slot. Here's a chance. Bogosian. And that's Radish, excuse me, as he tries to fire that on. It's saved a couple times by Samsonov. Here's Darren Radish one more time. And this gets picked up now by Toronto. And they dodge a bullet. As that was a pretty interesting sequence, Alec.
Oh, they have dodged a bullet big time. Tampa Bay surrendering that many offensive chances, and it was countered by Tampa Bay shorthanded attack. Darren Radish, 2 great looks after having his first career playoff goal in Game 3. That could have easily been his second. Because, man, both these teams are getting all sorts of looks at both sides. Wow.
Rielly with a great move, and that was saved by Samsonov as he stepped through a couple of Maple Leafs. Again, that was short-handed. So it doesn't matter right now, I guess, for the Bolts that they were down a man. They certainly have the better of the opportunities here coming on Toronto's power play. And somebody blows a tire. As this is sent up now, the Bolts just brush this out across the blue line, and this will allow Pat Maroon to get back on the ice, return back to even strength. That was a pretty interesting sequence on that, and it looked like the Bolts had the better pace of it. And now they're badly out shooting the Maple Leafs 29-19, but they're only up 2-1. The latest goal courtesy of Mikhail as they're trying to stave off elimination and try to find another game anomaly, trying to get to Game 6, as this is picked up now. And now it's Bogosian here with Colton off the reverse hit as they're trying to knock the Maple Leafs off the puck. This will be sent back to Mikhail Sergachev. 17:25 left to go in this third. As it's flipped back down the ice off the long flip, and this will fall to Rielly as he sends this across and back in. Vasilevsky will take a look at it, but this will go to Zach Bogosian and Hedman. Hedman now will take his time as this will play across here for Darren Radish. Kucherov will try to flip this in across the red line now. Will touch the stick of Samsonov and now Rielly. He'll skate in through a couple as again another one of the bolts blows a tire. Zach Aston Reese on the fourth line for Sheldon Keefe squad. This bounced up in the netting on a play. You get a stoppage with 16:54.
So you get Tampa trying to push this to a Game 6. Well, so far, holding up their own at the defensive end, courtesy of Andrei Vasilevsky, who's returning to form just in time for Game 5.
Has this been a game so far here for you, Alec, where this has been one of Tampa's best defensive efforts, or do you feel like they've had a lot of these and just got a little bit unlucky with the comebacks?
It feels like one of their defensive efforts so far as I've seen.
That's what I'm thinking too. This is a game where Tampa's locked it down. I feel like they've played one of their best games in the series so far, but there's still so much time left as Samsonov lost his stick as it was falling back to him, but he gets the whistle and it's blown dead. That was a curious one.
Good break, lucky break there for Samsonov after he lost that stick. Because he was getting all over there was some chances by Tampa Bay after. Oh yeah, he lost the edge, but yeah, was able to hold on to it.
He lost the edge. He lost his paddle and everything else in the process. He's lucky that there wasn't anyone for Tampa to pick that up and kind of get an extra goal here. But again, I know that Toronto came back from a 4-1 on the side of it, but we will see what ends up happening again. I don't think this is going to repeat itself, but I don't want to put my foot in my mouth either, as it's 16:30 left to go in the third. John Underwood in the play-by-play alongside Alec Nava. The money line right now on DraftKings, they're short on TBS is plus 240 for Toronto, so they're kind of feeling like Tampa's going to hold this one and find a way when they absolutely have to. Giordano holds it in, a baseball-style catch there for Vasilevsky, and he will play it quickly. And this will allow the Bolts to keep it going. This is flipped in about 100 feet, and now it's 16:05 left to go in this third. Still 29 shots to 19. Michael Eastman's goal in the second period is the one that would be the GWG at this point if we don't get any more. As this is collected now for Rielly. Good work off the chip and chase. Hall try to finish the check, stays on his feet. Now picked up by Bogosian as this is sent back around. There's a chance for Killorn off the spin, and now recollected now for Hall. Off the stick left, here's Rielly. Great work there. Able to keep this alive, but can't hold the blue line. And now here's the Maple Leafs. It's Auston Matthews racing down the left side boards. This is sent back around for Vasilevsky. He'll poke at it with the paddle, and this will allow Brayden Hagel to send this back around to his defense. So good work there by Vasilevsky to stay poised, especially when Auston Matthews was getting right in front of that net. As this goes back here for Morgan Rielly. He falls down, but he is able to get the play out of the zone. I kind of wonder if the ice surface is a little bit messed up at Scotiabank. We're seeing a lot of these players take a spill. As Morgan Rielly one more time. He'll make the pass for John Tavares, number 91. He loses the puck for a moment off the backhand. He might be able to chip and chase to it, but this will go back to Zach Bogosian, quickly racing in his own end. Now off the forehand toward the left side wall, able to get a piece of it. Here's Stamkos now. Patient. He'll just flutter it on and toward the right side inboards. Sent it back down. Here's a break, and it's saved. It was Vasilevsky that stole Marner on a 1-0.
Oh, man. And the goaltending display continues for Andrei Vasilevsky. Just stonewalling Mitch Marner on that breakaway. That was a great feed from Toronto's own end. And Vasilevsky is known to stop these breakaways before.
Yes, he is. Nick Paul. This one shoots up in the netting. It was a combination play between Eastman and Paul. They got a stoppage. We will take yet another look at it, as this is a long outstretched pass. Mitch Marner tried to wait out Vasilevsky, and then he went for the forehand wrister. It was a good move, all things considered, but Vasilevsky made himself look big as he usually does, Alec.
I mean, yeah, that was an amazing save by Vasilevsky.
So blocker side save for the Big Cat, and this is going to be an offensive zone draw here as this is picked up now. Mikhail will send this back across. 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points in this series. That's just fine. That's about 2 points per game as this goes offsides.
And just looking at this replay several times by Marner, and that's a great blocker save by Vasilevsky. Someone noted that it was his weakness because the Rangers exploited that several times, like whenever they played the Lightning, but not that time.
And you gotta hope, Alec, even if Tampa comes back and wins this one, that Toronto doesn't see Vasilevsky turn himself into what he can be when it comes to elimination games. I know it was last year and it was a 4-0 sweep, but when little brother essentially in the Florida Panthers played the Tampa Bay Lightning in the state of Florida, Vasilevsky's save percentage was in the 960s. And he can do that kind of work, especially in elimination games.
And he can, especially so. Yeah, you mentioned elimination games. 6 shutouts in such things in the series closing games.
He is that good. Again, he's been playing all these playoff runs consecutively. Nothing here for Brian Elliott in the postseason. John Cooper knows who his prime goaltender is. No doubt that's Vasilevsky, but not even a game off for Vasilevsky over the last 4 years. As this is played now, a tripping call maybe against Hedman? No, we didn't get a hand in the air. Somebody went flying on the other, and that's definitely going to make the fans none too pleased. As it's sent back around now, Giordano trying to keep us alive as this gets blocked. Settled down by Isamont. Good work there. Combination play one more time for Paul. This third line has been pretty good here for John Cooper's squad. As this is picked up here for Kerfoot now, trying to get around Paul. As the flags are waving and the fans are standing here at Scotiabank, they're in a tight one right now. Nobody's going to be walking away and leaving early. As this is a shot that's saved, Samsonov will brush it aside and recollect it now for Willie Nylander. He'll spin and toward the right side dot as Maple Leafs look to go right to left. Here's Matthews again toward the left side. He goes for a 5-hole chance against Vasilevsky. This will be picked up toward the right side wall and recollected by Mikhail Sergachev. Quickly played around by Zach Bogosian. So John Cooper has definitely mixed all of his 6 defensemen here as much as he can. Again, without Eric Chernak, one of the top guys that was already hurt going in. He's not going to be playing for the rest of the series. Good move there on the other end as this is recollected by the Maple Leafs. Now toward the right side of the red line gets canceled off, and this will allow Bogosian to take his time, and this is sent back here for Mikhail Sergachev and Pat Maroon. And Sergachev, outlet pass. Now it's Darren Radish. Radish will spin. 12-10 left to go in this third. It's still a 2-1 lead for Tampa. Alec Nava joining me here on the color side. This is John here with you on the play-by-play as we take in Game 5. This is a potential closeout for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have a couple chances at this. We'll see if they can do it right now, though. Loose out in front. Tavares made a great one-handed deep move to get a chance on Vasilevsky, but it was saved. Kucherov now. High slot. Stamkos. Oh, he got robbed by Samsonov.
And the response by the other netminder here, Ilya Samsonov, stonewalling Steven Stamkos, who has just 1 goal in this entire series. And that is insane to think about, given that he's just had 1 goal for the entire series. Oh, yeah, high slots. And, yep, that was a quick flick of the wrist to go that down.
Yes, it was. Both goaltenders, we can say this for the numbers that we gave you in the opening, both goaltenders are playing the best game of their series. It looks like adequate NHL goaltending here, Alec, as far as these numbers are concerned.
Yep. As you mentioned.
Do we have any pertinent NFL updates, any NBA scoring updates, anything you want to pass along as we're in the middle of a commercial?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention the next free pitch for the Cardinals at number 6 is Paris Johnson Jr. They traded with the Detroit Lions for that pick.
So the Lions, I wonder what they got for moving down. I don't think that's a bad decision to do so.
Well, they need protection for Kyler Murray up front, so I don't think the Cardinals were trading up.
Nope.
Then at number 7, you got Tyree Wilson at defensive end.
So I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see if they show it on the ESPN side, just to see where they will pick now, because I'm curious. Because again, you're correct. You want to be able to show, if you have Kyler Murray, that you want to make sure that you're going to have him be the guy going forward and provide that protection. But where does that leave the Lions now, and what did they get? That is what I'm interested to see. So right now, number 9 is on the clock, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles, it looks like. And Detroit will pick 12th.
Yep, Detroit's picking 12, so the pick is in.
So we're going to be starting this third period again here shortly. On that end, we are just taking a look at Ilya Samsonov and Andrei Vasilevsky with a couple of key saves. And again, I'm glad to be able to take this game in here with the Alec, because this feels like the low-scoring game that I'm kind of waiting for. Everything's been a blowout back and forth, essentially, with these amount of goal scoring. I know there have been some critical close ones in OT, but leads that were not held, some defense that kind of got exposed. We're not seeing that here in Game 5. We're seeing a good old-fashioned defensive hockey game that you would expect this time of year. As Giordano with an outstretched pass with 11:25 left to go in this third. And this is recollected here. And this was the outstretched pass. Sergachev will take a look at it, but it will fall back to Mark Giordano. Fast-moving game at that, because we're 11:10 left to go in this third. We're getting dangerously close to the halfway marker of regulation. And again, that is a critical point in this series, as Alec talked about, because it was 4-1 on that side, and Toronto was way out of it, and Tampa was in complete control. But all of a sudden, when he got past that point and halfway marker in regulation, things turned completely, as this is set now for Esamont. Esamont now. Recollect for O'Reilly. It's picked up near the right side. Doc Kerfoot gets stick lifted. Been able to keep this one alive and toward the left side red line. 10:35 left to go in this third, as it's a chance for Cole. This gets turned over. Nolachari gets the steal. It's McCabe off of a centering feed intentionally for Ryan O'Reilly, and that one goes wide, as Tampa can get some wholesale changes and flip down. I know Alec is in the middle of the NFL draft on the Philadelphia side, so I want to make sure in between that and Pittsburgh, we want to take a look at that and make sure the rivals and everything else. I know he's following that along for us. Alongside the NBA scoreboard, only one game, and we do have some updates as far as the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights in New Jersey and New York that we will share along with you. And at the end of 2, that's all New Jersey, to give you a little bit of that live look in for the Devils. They scored a short-handed goal. On the other end for Dawson Mercer, made it 3-0. New Jersey can take a 3-2 series lead and get 3 straight games against the Blue Shirts, as this is one clean. In the offensive end, O'Reilly trying to send this out in front of Brandon Hagel. Will find it, as it's 10:05 left to go in the third. We're going to hit this halfway point now, and this is exactly where Game 4 turned. But now it's a 2-1 lead, not a 4-1 lead. But again, as we talked about, Tampa's had many games in this series where they've had the lead, but the problem is closing it. That's all it is. And for Toronto, I don't think the fans can get too concerned of missing one closeout opportunity. That happened in the Stanley Cup playoffs for the Colorado Avalanche in the finals last year against the Lightning. They couldn't do it at Ball Arena, but they closed it out at Amalie. So you feel the nerves the first game, then you persevere and go forward. That's probably what's going to happen here. Stamkos will find it and toward the right side wall. Again, I asked Cooper Hopkins about this too. He said Tampa's going to win this one tonight and then maybe lose in Game 6. I was kind of thinking the same thing on that end for the way that it goes. But we'll see what happens, as this is near the left side of the red line. It's Auston Matthews. Will recollect this now off the forehand. It's Brody. Brody will be patient, and will gain the entry across the red line now, as we've had 9 minutes left to go in this third. This is a series right now in which the first time these two goalies have been excellent. Samsonov and Vasilevsky have done the job. Again, Vasilevsky's only had to stop 21 out of 22, and Samsonov stopped 31 out of 33. As you get a momentary feed of the freeze of the TDS feed, but that's still going on. With 8:40 left to go in the third, there's a little bit of problems, but we'll relay everything to you. As this is sent across here for Brody. And now a race here for Matthew Nyes. He's back out there after blocking a shot. He missed a few shifts. And this is flipped down the ice across the red line, but not too far enough for Nyes. So Toronto and start again with John Tavares. It's Mark Giordano. Again, flip it in across the red line. Good entry off the backhand for Sam Lafferty, but a finish check, a big one there for Ross Colton, knock Lafferty down. And this is recollected for Isamont. Here's a stretch pass. They'll twist it for Ross Colton. They'll be the first to get to it. Try to center out front. Here's a big stop by Samsonov. Down, and the Lightning score!
Oh, gotta say, it's a 180 from what I've seen.
8:06 in the third. The Lightning take a 2-goal lead, courtesy of Nick Paul.
And I'll tell you, Nick Paul scored 2 big goals in Game 7 last year, and he scores another big one for Tampa Bay in this one. Receiving a centering fee from that slot. Oh.
Looks like it might have bounced right back to him.
Yeah, it looked like that as well. It all starts with that dump in by Tampa Bay to that transition. Near corner was picked up. Ross Colton, and Isamont just left slide to Paul as well.
So Nick Paul, his 6th career postseason goal. Boy, has he been good, as we talked about from the trade deadline last year. He is one that can score some big goals, and none bigger than that right now. Question is whether or not Tampa can hold it, but Alec just said this looks different. I agree, but we know that the Leafs can push. They can score quickly. They got to do so now. As it's recollected, Ryan O'Reilly trying to find Kerfoot. As this is flipped in off the left side of the edge of the glass, and this will stay in. 7:40 left to go in this third. Tampa's just taking a 2-goal lead. Here's O'Reilly through the traffic, and this one gets fired wide. Alexander Kerfoot, patient, and off the forehand. And it's recollected by Morgan Rielly. Rielly now with Ryan O'Reilly as this gets sent back around. You got to make sure it's on a tongue twister as it's picked up here for Kerfoot near the left side of the red line. Now it's Point with Hedman. Top line's out there trying to get this one on. Mix in there with Isamont as well. It's a mix of all the lines here for John Cooper's squad. You got to keep everybody fresh at this point. You got to make sure that everybody can do the job and hold this lead. You really don't need any more goals at this point. I think if you're Tampa, you might want to batten down the hatches at the 4-minute mark and make sure you lock it down. Nothing extra. You can give up 1. You can't give up 2. 6:50 left to go in this third. Nola Chari had his stick almost taken away from him as he's going to the players' bench. A little bit of gamesmanship there for the Bolts as they want to try to make life difficult here at Scotiabank Arena. This will be sent all the way down the ice, and this will be called against the Lightning.
So the Leafs now need 2. It's not a 1-goal game anymore, so I wonder what that tangle-up is between Noah Chari and the officials on that. But he had a stick broken. He's just trying to get to the bench to get a new stick. But opportunity for the Leafs to get one back.
Would not surprise me, Alec, if someone was trying to get a cheap hold before he can get into the bench to try to get a too many men or something like that, the way the Lightning are doing this, because you got to get away with whatever you can get away with this time of year. That's just the way that it goes. The shot board is now 34-24 in favor of the Bolts. It was Nick Paul with the latest goal. Again, they got to win at least 2 more of these, assuming they win today, just to be able to get out of this series against the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs still in good standing, but again, they're going to make a big point there at Amelie to try to finish it off in a couple of days. Again, they don't have any delayed structure as far as the series. As far as some of these other ones get 3 or 4 days off, this is going to be a 2-day alternate per usual. As this is sent back around for McCabe. Almost stolen, but it finds Morgan Rielly and sent back down. Here's a good bounce. It's Brayden Point off the half spin. Able to just kill time, essentially. He's not trying to force anything. As he's near the right side of the red line. Mitch Marner trying to get the pin. And now Kucherov. Here's a chance for Nick Pervix. Let one go. Here's the wrist shot. Good save there by Samsonov. And sent back down the ice. 5:35 up to go in this third. And this will go against icing the Maple Leafs.
Not what the Toronto wanted.
Absolutely not on that end, because you're having to keep that same amount of players on the ice. They're running out of energy. As we talked about, it's 3-0 Devils. Devils trying to get a big win at home. They are doing exactly the opposite of what the Maple Leafs are trying to do right now. And a Kucherov chance. This one gets swallowed up by Samsonov. That was a great save there. We're going to go to commercial break. Tampa feels really good right now. It's about 5:34 in the third. They're up 2, and they're trying to stave off elimination here in Game 5.
Do or die. Do or die for Tampa.
Absolutely, and we will see if they can do that. I know Alec is a little bit busy on that end, so I can follow things out again. We're just happy to have him. But we'll take a look at it right now. This will be in Game 6, assuming we get to that point. Everything is TBD on that end, so you can check back in tomorrow. But Game 6 will be in Amalie Arena on Saturday against the Maple Leafs, assuming we'll get to it. Well, in fact, we know we're going to get to a Game 6 between the Devils and the Rangers. That one is already decided. That's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN Plus. The Oilers and Kings and the Golden Knights and Jets will be TBD. But again, that only matters, at least for the Golden Knights and Jets. Game 6, no matter what, here for the Oilers and Kings. But for the Golden Knights and Jets, the Jets would have to win without a lot of pieces tonight. Probably not going to happen, but we will take a look at that. I'll give you an update on the lone NBA score that we have. This one's very tight in between the Boston Celtics and the Atlanta Hawks. And if I am correct, I'm going to take a look at this series board right now. It's a 3-2 lead for the Boston Celtics. I don't think, Alec, that they want to take a Game 7 in the TD Garden in Boston, but Atlanta is not going away just yet.
They are not. They're just doing everything possible to get back into the series.
So as we look at it, I'll just give you this scoring here. The Trae Young experience is alive and well over the last few games. Not much scoring across the other starters. Bench scoring looks pretty good there with Sadiq Bey and Bojan Bogdanovic, but Trae Young's got 25, and the Celtics lead is Jaylen Brown with 18, Jason Tatum with 16. You kind of expect that, but at least for Jaylen Brown, they're making him shoot 7 of 15, and Tatum 6 of 12. It's still 50%. Trying to make them more volume shooters than anything. As we are going to get back into this third period, I'll pull back up the boxes just in case anything changes in the lineup. But the Lightning look good right now. As far as Nick Paul is concerned, he's got the second goal, and we will see if the Lightning can hold it. They want to try to push to Game 6. Auston Matthews wins the defensive zone draw as it's 5:25 left to go here in this third. Picked up toward the right side wall. Eastham out looking for a second. That was a short side chance. It just grazed off the right post and now moved around the inboards now as Colton tries to keep it alive. Colton and Paul and Eastham up. They look really good on this third one. I'd say they really outplayed the Maple Leafs on that end as far as their back end lines, their bottom six. And that was a story last year. It continues to be a story here in Game 5. But admittedly, there's a lot more left to do here for the Lightning, assuming they can do it. With 4:50 left to go in the third, they want to just try to get to Game 6 right now. They got a 2-goal lead with 4:45 left to go in the third. So this will be picked back up now for John Tavares. We'll throw a stick at it, and then across the red line, Darren Radish will dump it in deep and now recollect it from Giordano. As it's a race, and this gets knocked away. Hagel taking a look at it as he was trying to provide a little bit of a flyby, but this will go the other way. Now Sergachev with a long flip pass. This will go all the way down the ice, and this will be against the Bolts.
Got to get something going, Toronto. Probably think about pulling Sandstone off early if you want to get one back, and get another one here.
So to your point, Alec, again, we can talk about this yesterday. Jared Bednar wanted to get something going early. He pulled Alexander Georgiev at 3:30 in the game yesterday.
And maybe Sheldon Keefe could think about something similar here in the final 4 minutes.
Wow, he's doing it right now with 4:21 left to go in the third. So he's going for broke right away, and the Maple Leafs can put this game to bed. But it's an offensive zone draw win. Well, I should say the Bolts could put it to bed, but we'll see what happens here for the Maple Leafs. They'll fire it again, and this is off the outside of the post, and now picked up, flipped down the ice. Is it going to go in? It goes off the bar. 2 bars consecutively. Samsonov is away from the goal crease, but it hit the left side of the bar off the clearing attempt. So the Maple Leafs still alive with 3:50 left to go in the third. As this picked up here for Kerfoot. Trying to keep this alive. Nylander, big save. Vasilevsky swallows it up. We get a stoppage with 3:44 in the third. A pair of bars from both teams.
Cool. I'll tell you, man. Toronto just caught themselves a break as soon as that puck hit the bar on the other end of the ice. But, man, they're just doing everything
Yes, they.
Again.
Yes, they are. As it went just to the right side of the bar from Mitch Marner, and then picked up on the other, enough a clear goes off the bar, and we go to a commercial break, and we'll continue to follow these and give any other updates. As this is sent across, I appreciate you guys following between the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube. As I got Alec with me again, wouldn't imagine we're gonna have as much foot traffic because I know that there's a lot of people that like to hate on the Maple Leafs more so than actually root for them, unless you're from Canada on that end. But again, this is the Lightning in their last stand. And I think this is the best game, even though this is the first that I've covered in between these two this year in the playoffs. This is the best game that I've seen the Lightning play in the series.
Well, arguably so. Notwithstanding game one when he just blew the doors off of Toronto, that was more of an offensive display by Tampa Bay. This one is more of a complete display.
Yeah, more along the lines of what we're used to, and that's kind of the point that we're both getting at here. Is this is I'm going to look again, so we're still in the middle of the half on that side, and when we're in the NFL draft in the middle of our commercial break, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at and see who was taken, or if you have any other updates that you want to throw across.
All right, picks 8 through 11 are Bijan Robinson for Atlanta, Jalen Carter for Philadelphia, Giordano Wright for Chicago, and Peter Skoronsky for Tennessee. The pick is in for Detroit. They haven't announced it yet.
I was surprised that Jalen Carter fell as far as he did. I heard that people said that he was going to go a couple picks higher than that.
I mean, if you look at it, Jalen Carter with the character issues heading into this draft, and that was one of the concerns they had about Jalen Carter, especially with what happened in the offseason on an incident that I will not mention. But, yeah.
So Nylander's out in front, and I'll get to this in a second. They score! This is tipped out in front by Matthews, and here we go again. The Maple Leafs are back in it.
4 years ago, Logan Couture put the one finger up in the air, saying that's one on how many goals they got right back. Maybe they can get something similar. Yep. Get the rebound by Auston Matthews. There's one. Time to get two.
Crazy if this happens again. I was just going to say, I know the Lions, they took Jahmyr Gibbs, the 5'9" running back out of Alabama, and we will see how that ends up working out and how much time and space and playing time he will get.
Well, if the Leafs can tie this up, yeah, grab your popcorn, everyone. Grab your popcorn.
Is this really going to happen to the Lightning again? That's what we're going to find out here. It's 3:30 left to go here in this third. As it's sent back down, the flags are waving. It's Ross Colton. I'll take a look at it. And now the Maple Leafs are buzzing. They don't have the empty net pulled now. They got one early with Samsonov about 3:30 in the third. And now this is played in behind the net. I would think if you're the Lightning, you will find a way to hold this. But again, even I, as this gets iced, oh my goodness, even I'm going to have my head in my hands if I see the Bolts give up yet another lead against Toronto.
I'll just say, the big emphasis, hold on to the leads. You never want to ice the puck here this late in this game. Now you have Samsonov pulled again, and to put another 6-on-5 situation. Oh, Tampa, just hold on to the lead if you're the Lightning.
So it's Ryan O'Reilly against Brayden Point. Again, I'm going to go small advantage here, O'Reilly, just because of the situation. We'll see if he gets kicked out of the draw. That would be a big advantage there for the Bolts. But they're just going to do this drop again and settle it back down. So 37 shots to 27. Tampa got a 3-2 edge now. But Toronto's just got it within closer with Auston Matthews and O'Reilly. Point can't win the draw. As this is Morgan Rielly. Empty net again. This is in the high slot. This will fall back to Rielly. Can the Maple Leafs do it again? It's Marner. Now send this across Tavares. Rielly. Here's a slap shot. This one gets blocked. Kucherov sends it down. This is a friendly bounce. It's a race for the puck off the stick lift. It was full flight there for Ross Colton trying to find something, but it's Auston Matthews now. back in his own end. 2:30 left to go in the third. Boy, does this feel like the game yesterday. And between the Avalanche and the Kraken, it's another one goal with an empty net pool. We'll see what ends up happening. Can they come all the way back? Colorado tried to. Toronto's trying to, but they couldn't do it. As this is sent the other way. And now Victor Hedman. This gets iced against Toronto. So Samsonov going to get back in the crease.
Well, then, time to get back in quick and then move up the ice real quick. Try to net one in if you're the Leafs. If you're looking for your first series win in 19 years, boy, grab the popcorn.
Nothing ever comes easy, does it, Alec?
No, never.
So 3-2. It's Rielly against O'Reilly. O'Reilly's 11 out of 20. He's been excellent on the draw. Rielly is probably the best face-off man, all things considered, for Tampa. Again, he's one of the better two-way players, period. I always like Anthony Rielly's game. He has to try to win something critical here, and he does. But this will fall back to the Leafs instead. And now this will be an opportunity. Samsonov racing his way to the bench. And now it's Morgan Rielly. We'll send this back. The Maple Leafs. They're down a goal. They got one with the empty net. Now Samsonov going to look to return. I thought he was going to go back. And now this is sent back the other way. Almost up a turnover. It's Auston Matthews. We'll recollect there for O'Reilly. Tampa just trying to hold on. A minute 45 left to go in the third. Center net in front of that was fanned on. That would have been a tie game. But it missed the net. As this is picked up here the other way. And now an empty net again. Is this? No, there is no penalty. I thought there would be one. As this is still the other way. The fans wanted a high stick against Tampa. That would have been an immediate disaster, but it's still 6-on-5. We're live now with Willie Nylander as he gains the offensive zone. What a stick drag and a long shot. That one's a blocker save by Vasilevsky. Put in behind the net now. This goes. This can't be held in. This will be a break here for Tampa as Toronto's got to recollect themselves. Near across the blue line. 1 minute left to go in this third. Toronto needs a goal. They still have closeout opportunities, but they want to try to get it done now at home ice in Game 5. As it's Willie Nylander down to 55 seconds left. Picked up near the right side of the red line. Stamkos can flip it down the ice. Tampa just needs to hold on. They got to extend their season right now, and Toronto's pushing them against the ropes. Here's an opportunity for Ryan O'Reilly. Gain the entry off the backhand, trying to chip and chase to himself. Away from Victor Hedman. Down to 30 seconds. Picked up in the high slot. Extra pass. Nylander lets it go. It's deflected. Near the left side of the red line. Here it's fired. Stop 5 hole by Vasilevsky. And he brushes it aside with the goal stick. As this is set now, Tampa's got it in their own end. Long flip down the ice. This will be iced as soon as Toronto can get to it. 15 seconds.
15 seconds, all they need to tie this game. If you remember, 6 years ago, the Anaheim Ducks were able to come back from down 3 goals, tie it up in the final seconds and force overtime. We all know the end result here. Let's see if the Leafs can do something similar here.
Man, this is the same heartbeat and relevation as yesterday. As Kyle Dubas, he slammed on the desk with his Tim Hortons' coffee on that end. He wasn't feeling too glad about that. But again, I will just point out, you got to go back to Amelie, win another game, or go back to Scotiabank. So Toronto, if they don't get it done tonight, they're still in a great situation. It'll just be 3-2. It'll have to be 3 straight elimination wins rather than 2 like it was last year. So it's not likely for Tampa, but you know they're going to fight back. And if Toronto's going to get this, they're going to have to earn it against the Bolts here, Alec.
They have to.
15 seconds left to go here in this third. John Under with you alongside Alec Nava. This is the theater that we've been waiting on. This has been one of the closer games in the series, played all the way across defense. The score lines will dictate some 5-4s, 4-3s, and OTs, but those have just been extravagant runs of goals. This has just been a really good played game by both goaltenders and some good defensive games, more along the lines of the hockey that you would expect. So 15 seconds left. It's an offensive zone draw here for Ryan O'Reilly against Anthony Rielly. Again, if they can win this here quickly with Ryan O'Reilly, Tampa's definitely got a chance. Can O'Reilly win a big draw? This will go back to Victor Hedman. And now can they get it out? Alex Killorn! He gets his poke through. Flips it down the ice. It's wide, but it kills time. And it goes in the net. The Lightning are going to win and stave off elimination. Alex Killorn.
Oh, then Tampa lives to skate another day. They can breathe for now. This is their best effort that they have put up, and they're getting rewarded with it.
Absolutely, Alec. This is a gut check for the Tampa Bay Lightning in the biggest way. And I'm going to be glad to tell you this. I'm glad that this is the first game that we called together between this series because this was a fantastic game. Not only did Alex Killorn get all the way down to his own end to get it out, he also finished it off with an empty net goal. And that's it for Game 5. Tampa Bay lives to fight on another day. They will go to Amelie in a couple nights where they'll have to win yet another elimination game before they can even get to Game 7. Andre Vasilevsky, his 65th career playoff win, tied for 12th most all time. Dominic Hasek.
And mark that 11 straight games in which the Leafs have lost in close-out situations. 11. Wow.
That is a talking point that the fans will make sure that everyone else doesn't forget, and I'm sure Steve Dangle will have something to say. Again, I understand the fans are upset about what happened, but I still think about this in the heart of my hearts, whether or not you disagree with me with this, Alec. It's still two more closeout opportunities. We saw that at Ball Arena last year in the Stanley Cup Finals for the Avalanche. I don't think I have any doubts that the Maple Leafs will find a way to get this done. They just couldn't do it tonight.
This will be a very, very, very interesting finish to this series.
If that's the way that Alec's going to go with it, then maybe he thinks it might go to Game 7. Maybe I got some false confidence, but I will be back with you guys officially. If I'm not needed at the Waterford Sharks for Sunday, I'll be back for Sunday for potential Game 7 closeout should we get anyone in any of these series. Alec, thank you for joining me. I will probably talk to you then, or if not, next week.
All right, see you then, John.
See ya. So, guys, I know there wasn't a lot of you in here, but I appreciate you sticking around. I wanted to just go ahead and get your thoughts. Again, the ESPN side didn't give as much of the box score resets. I think they were too busy with the NFL draft. So it wasn't really squared away, but now the box score is finally loaded. So we do have our official goal scorers, and it's done. Game 5 is going to go to the Bolts. They are not dead yet. It was Morgan Rielly that got the first goal of the game for Matthew Nyes and John Tavares at 5:46. Anthony Cirelli countered 6:12 with his third from Brayden Hagel and Nick Perbix. Michael Eassamont got the only goal of the second from Zach Bogosian and Cole at 4:23. And then it was a fight to the end. Nicholas Paul got a humongous goal from Ross Colton and Eassamont 11:53. Auston Matthews, it was an empty net pool with Samsonov out of the crease. He got his fourth from Tavares and Mitch Marner. But Alex Killorn put it in the empty net in 1955. So what say you? I think Toronto's still going to be able to get this done. Again, it's still two more closeouts. They have a chance to figure this out. But you just make this point here. It was Ilya Samsonov stopping 34 to 38 for an 895. But look at it the other way. The Big Cat, 29 out of 31 for a 935. By far the best game of the series for Vasilevsky. Finds a way to get it done. Keep his team into the game, and we press on. So with my assignments, it's going to be the Waterford Sharks locally here against the Blue Water Stars at Lakeland Ice Arena. So I'm not going to be available for Saturday, but I will be on Real TV if you want to catch some Michigan Independence Hockey League action. But Sunday, I will be available. If there is a potential Game 7 in any of these series, we'll find one. I know they're all TBD at this point, but we'll get in on it and close it out at that point. So I should see you Sunday. If I don't see anything later than that, it'll be next week. As always, guys, I appreciate it. Peace out.